Priority 1 message from Starfleet coming in on secured channel.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Captains, ensigns, lieutenants, you name it.
Number ones who don't have rank.
Number ones who don't have rank. Well,
because they don't need it.
Who does? Who does?
They don't need rank.
Who does? Welcome to the live broadcast recording of episode 488 of Priority 1, a Roddenberry Star Trek podcast. I hope that those of you who did have a break this last weekend for Thanksgiving in the United States, I hope that you all had a safe and healthy adventure. We hope that everybody around you is safe and healthy. I know that this was not a conventional Thanksgiving, not the typical one, but we hope that you all played it safe and that and walked away from it unscathed, right? Unscathed. Tony, how was your week off?
It's pretty good.
It's good. My gravy turned out well. People like the gravy I made, so.
Oh, nice.
I'd say mission accomplished.
Tony,
Success.
gravy
success.
Man. I never would have pegged you to be the gravy man.
This was the first time I've ever done homemade gravy, and the secret I will give you two secrets. The two secrets that I've learned: stir constantly.
Yes.
Secret number one. Secret number two: gluten-free flour. It doesn't. There's no gluten in it, so it doesn't stick. So it's already got the tendency to not stick together. So when you stir it and stuff, it really does dissolve pretty well.
Okay. So
was it vegetarian gravy or
hell
from
no.
the bird?
What planet are you from? No.
Well, I had tofurkey. It's fine. And vegetarian gravy.
Right,
Yeah.
Vegetarian. Right.
Hey, Elio, you're a bit quiet in the mic, so if you can go ahead and turn your mic up a little bit, please.
Well, but if he does that, I won't be able to talk over him.
That's about as high.
True.
Brandon asked me to turn my mic down earlier. I'm wondering if I should reverse that a little bit here a second ago.
Yes, we should all go down. Well, I am glad that. So, Kat, you had a tofurkey?
She had a tofurkey.
I did. I made a casserole and cranberries, fresh, not out of a can.
Nice.
You see, I tend to like cranberry out of a can more than fresh cranberries.
I'm sorry, Elliot. Did you say I like sugar? Is that what you just said?
I do like sugar.
Oh, okay, all right.
Sugar.
I thought I misheard you. I thought you said cranberries out of a can when you meant sugar. I thought that's
Teacher guy agrees with you about the canned cranberries.
I don't
Y'all
know
are
what it is.
cray,
I don't know
man.
what it
No,
is. You know
they're
what- you
so
know-
good,
well, you know what?
fresh.
Look, I have a personal story to tell, and I'm okay telling it because she doesn't listen to the show. I had an ex-girlfriend once who was a chef and studied at ICA, Institute Culinary. I don't know, ICA.
Chef school,
CIA,
got it.
CIA,
Cooking
something like
school,
that.
we got it.
Yeah,
She was
got it.
trained.
Prestigious one, like it was a prestigious cooking school. And I remember our first Thanksgiving together. I had said, I tend to like cranberry sauce. And of course, she had to get all crazy with the cranberry sauce. And there was like cranberry sauce with blah, blah reduction and a bit of peppers. And
Ooh,
blah, blah,
like an
blah.
onion reduction? It's
Oh,
fantastic.
Lordy. No,
Oh, my
listen,
God.
Whatever it was, it tasted like snob, and I didn't like it.
It tasted like snob.
Just give me some cranberry out of a can. Throw that shit on stuffing. And
well,
call it a day.
I don't do anything fancy. I make it straight out of the bag. Oh, cranberries, you water, sugar, boil, good.
Right. But
No onion reduction.
Well, if you want to get fancy.
Well, or snobby.
Or snobby, or snobby.
Right, snobby.
Brandon, joining us this week. Now you can hear Brandon. Brandon's figured out a way to join. So Brandon
Yes.
will be
Freshly back from his vacation inside Elio's head.
inside my brain. Brandon's here. So
And for like the Twitch chat and everything, I'll be on there as Aileron Roll, which is my in-game name. So
nice, cool.
Which is different than a barrel roll.
Which
Yes.
is different from
Yes.
a barrel roll.
Yes.
Do an aileron roll is not as cool as do a barrel roll. Let's just get that clear, all right, Firefox friends.
yeah,
I mean, Star Fox friends.
on my Twitch channel, like whenever I live stream, that's like on the corner of it. It's Peppy doing an aileron roll.
Do an aileron roll.
So yeah.
Nice.
Oh, I hate this hum.
I think that does it for the banter.
And by the way, hi
We're
Jason
doing
and hi
fine.
Ken from Chicago. I
That's right.
appreciate you coming out.
So check it out, friends.
Hey, boys.
Friends who are watching us now. Look, the YouTube, Facebook, Twitter algorithms. They really, really depend on the fact that you share this and that you react to it using whatever little emoticon things that they offer, right? Like the heart button on Twitter and the like button on Facebook or reaction buttons on Facebook. So throughout the course of the night, make sure to hit those buttons. If you laugh, if you smile, if we anger you, it doesn't matter. Use those reactive buttons as you watch this show, please. It goes a really long way to helping us just kind of beat the algorithm, beat the AI that's kind of doing all these things. Because we ain't got no money for marketing, like that's, we got money to just keep the lights on in here, man. So we need your help. So hit that share button, hit that like, hit that retweet, hit all of those things, and do it throughout the course of the episode. I'll try to remind you and say, hey, don't forget. But yeah. Beyond that, we got some big announcements for the wrap up of this year. We hope that it's going to encourage some participation from our audience. I really do hope so. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and start hitting the record button. Tony, do you mind taking note of the time? So, thank you.
Can do.
All right. All right. Intro in 3, 2. This week on episode 488 of Priority 1, we trek out Noah Hawley's thoughts on the future Tarantino's beef with Pegg. Oh, shoot.
There's probably a comment there.
There's a comment there. This week on episode 488 of Priority 1, we trek out Noah Hawley's thoughts on the future, Tarantino's beef with Pegg, Dan Curry's artistry, and mega publishers. In Star Trek Gaming, there's Klingon Adventures, Star Trek Online's Winter Wonderland, and Grudge. Later, Dr. Robert Hurt joins us for an Astrometrics Report and for On Screen to review Discovery Season 3's episode, Unification Part 3. Hello, Captains. You're listening to episode 488 of Priority 1, a Roddenberry Star Trek podcast, your weekly recap and review of all the major news happening in the Star Trek multiverse. This episode was recorded live on Tuesday, December 1st, 2020, and available for download or streaming on Friday, December 4th at Priority One Podcast. Did I say December 1st the first time around?
Yeah, you did.
All right, well, now I fucked it up. This episode was recorded live on Tuesday, December 1st, 2020, and available for download or streaming on Friday, December 4th at PriorityOnePodcast.com. I'm Elio.
I'm Kat.
And I'm Tony.
And in our audio booth managing the live stream is our chief and let me just deliver that one more time. And in our technical booth is our chief live technician, Brandon.
Hey, guys.
I'll work out that title more officially perhaps for next week.
Fair enough.
He just gave you that promotion just now, Brandon. We were live when we heard. You all heard it. It was here. It happened just then. Congratulations.
Hey, I feel special now.
That's great.
Well, you did a phenomenal job 2 weeks ago when it was your first time doing it. Thank you again for joining us for these shenanigans and for helping us make our live stream so much better.
Thank you for having me.
Captains, each week between episodes, we love to engage in conversations with you, our listeners, on places like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So if you aren't already following us on any of those, be sure to look us up. There we post things like community questions, special announcements, and more. Just search for Priority One Podcast on your favorite social media app, and you will find us. Or you can email us. Reach out to us at incoming@PriorityOnePodcast.com.
Captains, anything that is produced by a community of volunteers and supported by a community of like-minded fans, you see, that's an endeavor worth every moment. There's something to be said about the magic it takes to produce a show like ours. Scripted, tightly edited, released weekly. But now I take a sense of pride that all of these accomplishments are done by a group of talented, passionate Trekkies who dedicate their time and talents to this production, all the while supported by listeners like you via Patreon.
Yep. It really takes a small army of volunteers to produce a show like ours from week to week, and we could use your help. If you'd like to join the team, we're looking for audio editors who can spare 2 or 3 hours a week to help edit one of our segments. Or if you're into video editing, someone who might be willing to clean up our live stream so that we can publish it as a whoops. I hear an echo, by the way. Okay, must just be me being crazy. Or if you're into video editing, someone who might be willing to clean up our live stream so that we can publish it as a video companion to the podcast. That would be fantastic.
You might not be crazy. It might still be me.
Yeah, I'm like, I keep hearing myself. Oh, now I don't. Oh,
Okay.
yeah, I do.
Hang on. Yeah, it's me. Hang on. It's me. I want to do something else over here.
Don't worry, I'll edit it out later.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's distracting, though. I know how distracting it can be. Just 1 second. I think I can do this, and it will help greatly. Okay. Hopefully you can still hear me.
I
Did I
did.
mess with that?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
very good. All right, here we go.
And the
Oh.
man behind you, is that your son? Talking?
Yeah, he's
Jesus.
upstairs stomping around.
He sounds like a man
Full
now.
full disclosure, my mother dropped off some food, and he's complaining about having to be the one to go get it because I'm doing this. So he had to walk all the way to the front door,
Good grief.
and then all the way to the refrigerator.
To get food someone brought you?
It's a hard life he leads, let me tell you.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. All right, here we go. But most importantly, Captains, it's time to inject some new life into the show by adding a new voice into the mix. As 2020 comes to a close, we talked the talk for some important causes, and now it's time to walk the walk and make changes to the show that reflect our commitment to inclusivity. And people are shouting upstairs. Just 1 second. Just 1 second.
If you want to call me, I can get on speakerphone and tell everybody to shut up.
Oh,
Yo, he's got a real Doc Brown thing going.
I'll go into the next paragraph. We're looking for a new host to join us every week to talk about the latest and greatest from the Star Trek multiverse.
No.
Can you take it back to the?
Go all the way back?
Take it from the top, yeah, because some of the voices creeped in.
You want all the way back or just to the sentence?
Most importantly, Captain.
Okay. But most importantly, captains, it's time to inject some new life into the show by adding a new voice to the mix. As 2020 comes to a close, we talked the talk for some important causes this year, and now it's time to walk the walk and make changes to the show that reflect our commitment to inclusivity. We're looking for a new host to join us every week to talk about the latest and greatest from the Star Trek multiverse. So if you've got a lot to say and you think you've got what it takes to verbally spar with the three of us, now's your chance to throw your hat into the ring.
Captains, I don't want to be the only person on this team that qualifies for a minority, so we
As
a minority. Okay.
You don't qualify for a minority. It's not like you get
yeah,
one.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Captains, I don't want to be the only person on this team that qualifies as a minority, so we strongly encourage our BIPOC. BIPOC, right? It's BIPOC. So we strongly encourage BIPOC members of the Star Trek on. I wrote this, and I'm.
You wrote this.
Captains, I don't want to be the only person on this team that qualifies as a minority, so we strongly encourage BIPOC members of the Star Trek Online and greater Star Trek community to participate in this audition process. Our goal has always been to represent the community. I hate the word community. Our goal has always been to represent the community. We can do better, and we will do better with your help.
Sorry, got distracted with the chat. So, if you have a passion for Star Trek, play some Star Trek Online or other Trek games, and have always wanted to elevate your voice in the greater Star Trek community, then visit PriorityOnePodcast.com, review the job descriptions available, and click Join the Team. And click Join the Team at the top of the webpage. If you have any questions, feel free to write us via incoming@PriorityOnePodcast.com.
Now let's check out the latest news from the Star Trek multiverse.
Cool. That ended at 8:50.
Not too bad.
Maybe I'd check it out. I don't get it. Whoever wrote that.
Forget. It's been there a while. I think it was last time.
I didn't write that.
That says you did.
Yeah, you did, because it said edited by Brandon Parker.
Yeah, add.
How the heck did I do that?
Maybe I'd.
I probably was like typing something on Discord and something. Yeah.
Maybe we should. We should definitely keep that. Actually, it's a great new segment title. Maybe I'd check it out. Like if I have time.
Maybe.
I don't know.
You know, we should model.
I mean, if I fed my pets.
Start that Star Trek Discovery. Maybe I'll check it out.
Maybe I'll check it out.
Is that like a Family Guy where Peter's like, maybe I will, maybe I won't, and like
maybe
the whole episode is just maybe I will, maybe I won't. All right. All right.
Peter.
Are you guys ready for Trek It Out?
Yes.
I need to resize this window. Please, one moment. Please, un momento. I need to.
The guys in chat are being hilarious. Hey, Duncan Idaho 11.
Yeah, they're wanting me to make me like the number one in the. I don't know about that, but okay.
Oh, I see.
I appreciate the kind sentiments.
Duncan was expecting me to show up tonight in my Klingon outfit. He's coming back. With much less alcohol, for sure.
Yeah, as I said in our chat earlier.
Don't even repeat it.
Yeah, as I said in our chat earlier, drunk Klingon stream with alcohol is good radio. Drunk Elio in an after hours chat. Visit from HR. That's where that is. Yeah.
Visit from HR. So my plan is tomorrow night. Tomorrow night is when I plan to do it. So I'm thinking Wednesdays. I'm thinking maybe Wednesday nights. I'll do it. Wednesdays nights. What's
Wednesday nights.
These pills I'm taking are great. Wednesdays nights. All right. What happened to my hair? I cut it. That's what happened. Tony, on the other hand, is rocking a Doc Brown for real.
If I take the headphones off, I could. Yeah.
Yeah,
Marty!
I need to cut like this much off my hair. It's crazy.
And I don't have to worry about that.
Not at all.
No, yeah. Hey, I have a question. How do you shave the back of your head? How do you know you got everything?
Very carefully.
Oh, okay. Well, that's about all the explanation I really wanted.
Though, Tony, you could use a Flowbee like George Clooney does.
I gotta say that I am 99.99% sure he was just screwing with the person giving the interview. Like, yeah, it's a Flowbee, man. This is easy. The great hair like this, it's so simple. You don't do that. You don't Flowbee, Mr. Reporter guy. And then he went out and immediately bought stock in the Flowbee company. That's exactly what happened.
What's Flowbee?
George Clooney says he does his hair with a Flowbee.
What is Flowbee?
It's like the suck cut, but real.
You never saw the Flowbee commercials? Late 90s, early 2000s?
Oh,
What?
With the vacuum
Yes!
attachment? Yeah. Oh, so that's what it is? Huh?
My father-in-law has one and uses one currently.
Wow.
Yeah,
Does he
he's
look
used one
like
for
George
years.
Clooney?
Don't worry.
No,
Don't worry.
no, he does not.
As far as everybody's in the chat, don't worry. Melknezer will return. And General Mokai, I am glad to meet you. And what Melknezer's saying is that he's happy to meet General Mokai in the field of battle. So probably tomorrow. I got to figure out what the cadence is going to be. Like, is it going to be me on what? Yeah, Wednesdays. Is one day enough? Is one night a week enough on Twitch? No, right? You got to do that shit like every other day. So what do I do? Monday, Wednesday, Friday? It's a lot of work, man. It's a lot of prosthesis.
I mean, how much Klingon is too much Klingon? I think that's the real question. I think that's the way you have to ask that
How much
question.
do you need to get a guest role on Star Trek Discovery?
Oh, wow.
Well, first of all, you couldn't wear that Klingon outfit because the Klingons don't look like that anymore.
Don't get me
You'd have to get some new Klingon outfit stuff.
Just watch The Last Mandalorian and just this recent episode. I'm so pissed how Mandalorian is such a better show. All right, anyway, let's do Trek
Really
It Out.
good.
It's really good.
All right,
really
Trek It
good.
Out is starting at 1340, we'll say. 1340. All right, Trek It Out in 3, 2.
If you were looking forward to Fargo creator Noah Hawley's vision for Star Trek, then I'm sorry, we've got some bad news for you. According to the creator, quote, it doesn't appear to be in the immediate future. The 53-year-old Hawley sat down with Deadline this week to talk about the aforementioned Fargo Series 4 finale. Oops. Fargo Series 4. The 53-year-old Hawley sat down with Deadline this week to talk about the aforementioned Fargo Series 4 finale, a possible Aliens series, and Star Trek. On the latter, Hawley told Deadline, quote, it doesn't appear to be in my immediate future. I think when Emma came in, she took a look at the franchise and wanted to go in a different direction with it. But you know, life is long, and we were very close to production, but in this business, that doesn't mean much. You got to get out of the gate to be in the race, if you know what I mean. End quote. Nothing definitive, but that doesn't sound great. Check out our show notes for a link to the article.
I'm okay, let's move on. Moving on to another likely dead Star Trek film. Is there a feud between director Quentin Tarantino and Star Trek's Simon Pegg? Back in July of 2019, Tarantino told Deadline, quote, I get annoyed at Simon Pegg. He doesn't know anything about what's going on and keeps making all these comments as if though he knows about stuff. One of the comments he said, he's like, well, look, it's not going to be Pulp Fiction in space. Yes, it is. Insert a hearty Tarantino laugh here. If I do it, that's exactly what it'll be. It'll be Pulp Fiction in space. That Pulp Fiction-y aspect, when I read the script, I felt I have never read a science fiction movie that has this shit in it ever. End quote. But was Tarantino mad, bruh? According to Simon Pegg, no. In an interview with Radio Times, Pegg said, quote, I was just saying the opposite of what people were assuming it was going to be. Then I heard this story that Quentin was mad at me. I haven't read his treatment of Star Trek, but I've heard it's very Quentin Tarantino does Star Trek, you know? And it's everything you would hope from. Actually, I saw him at a Once Upon a Time in Hollywood thing. I was like, "You're not mad at me, are you?" He's like, "Nah, man, no. The press are blowing it out of proportion. We had a good laugh about it." End quote. So, good? Are they all good? Everybody's friendly?
I just would like someone to come out and say from Viacom CBS, Star Trek is at home on TV. It is the horse that is pulling the CBS All Access cart. We are not going to dilute that brand or take a chance on giving up any kind of control outside of our little kingdom until we have beat this thing to death and squeezed all the money out of it we can. I want them to come out and say that so we can stop having all these articles come out.
Oh, I'm sure that's going to happen tomorrow.
Many things like that do happen sometimes. I say, I want to see this, and the world provides that to me. That does happen from time to time.
Did they announce when the Viacom Plus thing was supposed to happen?
I think early next year, isn't it? Or mid next year?
Definitely next year.
It's I think it's mid 2021.
Yeah, I bet it wouldn't happen anytime before that if anything got announced.
Nope.
The truth of the matter is that they keep doing this to pique interest, right? To keep people talking, and that's what we're doing. We're talking about the Tarantino film. We're talking about Simon Pegg. We're talking about Noah Hawley, as if though that's going to do anything. I mean, but when push comes to shove, poop or get off the pot, right? Like that's it. I understand that much of production has come to a halt, but that doesn't mean that writers can't get together. That the pen to paper development of a new movie or a new concept can't be happening right now. I think we've all been able to deal with not being in the same room with one another in 2020, right? We've all managed to get around that. So I at this point, I almost want to make a declaration that Priority One will no longer cover these ridiculous claims that Quentin Tarantino is going to be making a movie or not, or where Noah Hawley is, until finally there's something to announce. No, nobody's behind me there.
I'm
No?
like,
All right.
okay.
We're fine. We'll keep delivering it.
Okay. Releasing on the day of this recording, December 1st, a new book outlining the visual beauty of Star Trek titled Star Trek, The Artistry of Dan Curry will hit bookshelves. Oh, sorry. Hold on. Hello, Tracy Lee Coco.
Hey, Tracy.
Hey, Tracy.
Hey, Tracy.
Oh, hey, Zeph. And Z, what's up? The creator of the art, Dan Curry, sat down with Space.com to talk about his time with Star Trek. Curry reflected on his time with the Peace Corps and how his travels through Asia affected his designs. Quote, "When you see exteriors of Klingon cities or Klingon outposts, most of them were matte paintings by the great Sid Dutton. I'd work with him on evolving a style that was a composite of Thai, Lao, and Nepali architecture. I did some of the matte paintings myself, like the Klingon Lamasery, which is a Tibetan-looking building on a mountaintop inspired by a train trip I took through the Canadian Rockies." End quote. In regards to his on-set memorabilia, Curry says, quote, "It was frowned upon. Anything I wanted, I'd ask the producers for, but I'd have... Oh, I see where we're going with this. I do have a Batleth. I do have Batleth number 1 and Mechleth number 1, and I have a little hand prop from Deep Space Nine, a Cardassian device like an alien iPad that has my face on it as a deceased mad scientist. I have some that's echoey and weird. I have some of the shards left over when we blow up a model. Sometimes I'd make space debris. Oh, okay. Sometimes I'd make space debris out of... Dang it, I can't say debris. Sometimes I'd make space debris out of... There's too many maids in there. Sometimes I'd make space debris out of plastic parts melted over a candle. If we came upon a destroyed spaceship, the random plastic parts would be the debris that would fly by. I did keep a lot of my storyboards and concept sketches, end quote. To read the article or for a link to purchase Star Trek The Artistry of Dan Curry, written by Curry and Hero Collector's own Ben Robinson, you can follow the link in our show notes. That's pretty cool. I didn't realize that Klingon architecture took so much from Asian influence and Thai influence.
Yeah, some of these books can be really revealing, especially if you kind of want to fancy yourself a bit of a Star Trek scholar, right? If you want to kind of get in the behind-the-scenes knowledge of how these things were created, this is a nice, at the very least, a nice coffee book, coffee table book that you can leave, lying about.
Nice.
Well, if you're a fan of the Star Trek novels, well, here let me give you a good segue here. Well, speaking of books, if you're a fan of Star Trek novels, listen up. Viacom CBS has struck a deal with publisher Penguin Random House to sell its publishing arm, Simon & Schuster. The deal was struck on Wednesday, November 25th, for a whopping $2 billion. But according to the New York Times, creates the first mega publisher. The deal will certainly shake up the publishing world, giving Penguin Random House access to authors like Stephen King and Doris Kearns Goodwin, as well as the Star Trek catalog. But what does that mean for Star Trek novels? Penguin Random House CEO Jonathan Karp said in an interview, quote, "This is a company that respects the creative autonomy of publishers. We'll still all be competing against each other. Publishing is a business driven by individual passions for books and for writers," end quote. Best case scenario, the books keep coming, but we get more push from the mega publisher. Worst case, the books stop altogether. For now, it's a waiting game. Stay tuned, and we'll bring you more as we hear it.
When I first saw this headline hit social media, I feel like there were people that were kind of upset about this. Like this could be bad for Star Trek literature. Any idea why that might be, or?
Just that it's a bigger publishing company. It's harder for smaller stories like that maybe to get signed. I don't know how much new artist development they do, but usually it's just corporatized at this point.
Right. I remember back when Penguin was a company.
Oh, yeah.
And Random House was a company. So, I mean, those used to be two different companies, and now they became one, and now they're eating up Simon & Schuster. So this, to me, this is, again, like Kat was saying, it's corporatizing it, right? It's just gluing more companies together to get volumes of, economies of scale for that. Not long ago, this sort of thing would have been stopped by the Department of Justice and Antitrust, because if they're getting to a third of the publishing market, in the publishing market, they buy writers, right? They buy stories, and then they turn around and sell the books. So they're they're in a monopsony and a monopoly potentially situation. If there's only a few sellers of books, if there's not very many sellers of books, then that's a problem. But more to the concern maybe is that they might be one of the few buyers of books, which is a monopsony, not a monopoly. And that's a different kind of a problem. So I don't think Star Trek needs to worry, but it's the writers that publish their own books that then qualify to become Star Trek writers, right? Because you don't just get handed a Star Trek title. No, you have you have to publish a few books on your own, and then someone comes and taps you on the shoulder and says, you want to give a crack at a Janeway story. And so that may be more the problem, is that as that ecosystem gets more centralized, there's fewer chances for unknown writers to cut their teeth on their own stories to get noticed by another company to write this. And it's more likely that you'll have to be in their farm system. If you want to crack at a Star Trek novel, you're going to have to be already published by that company to get a crack at it.
I don't know, man. I just want them to do more audiobooks for people like me that like to listen to audiobooks.
Ooh, I love audiobooks too.
I wouldn't worry about that. They're expensive to make, and a big company like this can afford to hire actors to.
I'd love to read the entire Destiny novel. I'd love to read the whole Picard.
The Destiny novels? Don't bother. They're terrible.
Titan novels. I want to read the Titan novels. Like, I want to do all those things, and I'd love to be able to listen to them on my ride to work or whatever, you know.
My walk
They're
from
only
downstairs to
available in
upstairs.
German.
From the laundry room to the kitchen
To the laundry room and the kitchen.
and back again 14,000 times.
Well, that wraps up all the news we have to cover in the general Star Trek news. Well, Captains, that's all the news we have to trek out this week. Now, let's find out what happened in the world of Star Trek gaming. All right, that ended at 26:30. I start
26:30.
this out, Kat, because you got the first story.
Oh, okay.
You got that, Tony? 26:30?
26:30. Yep.
Hold on, I need to adjust my scroll. All right.
All right, I'm ready when you guys are.
Ready?
Tony, you ready?
Do it.
26, actually 27. 27 minutes.
27.
All right.
The ver-
gaming.
Ah, damn it.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go.
No, you intro us because you
Gaming
do
in
that.
3, 2.
Sorry, I was drinking.
Jesus H.
Okay. So what's the timestamp now?
So the timestamp really is 27:20. Gaming in 3, 2.
The virtual role-playing tabletop endures, now more than ever, but there'll always be something satisfying about physical space. And if Klingon warriors understand anything, it's getting physical. No, not like, well, okay, actually, yes, like...
Actually, it'd probably be like, let's get physical. We want to get physical.
Oh my god. Oh, mind cleanse.
Arnold Schwarzenegger playing a Klingon was a missed opportunity. They really should have gone for that.
Oh my god,
All
that
those
would have
years
been
ago.
amazing, yeah.
Give me the butt lift.
Melina!
Get to the border prey.
Get in the brother Craig. Get in. Now.
Now.
Come with me if today is a good day to die.
Sorry, that sounded a little more like Stimpy. I mean, Ren.
Hey, Stimpy, come with me. Today's a good day to die.
Shit. All right, where are we?
All right.
Off the rails is where we are.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. That was
anywho.
my fault.
That is a golden blooper. Please include this in the
I really
podcast.
hope so. I hope so. I hope it will be in a blooper.
I'm going to start at the second sentence here.
Sure.
And if Klingon warriors understand anything, it's getting physical. No, not like, well, actually, yes, like that. Anyway, Modifius understands as well and has the tools of violence to accommodate. Pre-orders are open for the Star Trek Adventures Klingon Empire dice set and Game Master Toolkit, which expected release next February. The dice set...
With
Oh.
expected release. So which?
Whoops. Pre-orders are open for the Star Trek Adventures Klingon Empire dice set and Game Master Toolkit with expected release next February. The dice set includes 4 Star Trek Adventures branded D6s and 2 D20s for $19.96. For $46.
You know what? I feel
Yeah, I'm like-
that's gonna be a weird cut. The dice set includes.
The dice set includes 4 Star Trek Adventures branded D6s and 2 D20s for $19.96 US dollars. For $46.59 US dollars, the toolkit combines PDF and printed GM screens, player reference sheets, and a 20-page one-shot story. The toolkit also offers double-sided maps of Klingon space and alpha-beta quadrants, but in the original Klingonese. Good thing you have till February to learn the language.
You know, there's one thing that if there's one thing that Modifius knows how to do, is make beautiful art for these books and develop a wonderful story. I mean, Tony, you've sung their praises before, you know, about how much lore they can inject into one of their books.
Yeah. Lennon just recently got the Klingon rule book that he likes much better, not only for the art and lore we've talked about, but also the rules are much better organized in the Klingon book and in the new release of this. So if you're interested in doing the Klingon adventure type story, this one of these packs might be good for you. The branded dice that they're talking about, that's not. It's kind of important for the game because it's just easier. The 6-sided dice have special symbols on it in the Star Trek game that don't translate to a regular set of dice you'd find in Yahtzee. So if you want to be official and have an easier time reading what your damage scores are, you might want to invest $20 in a set of dice for it and to support the publisher. It's a fun game. It's a fun rule set. It takes a little time to learn. Hopefully, if you start with a Klingon set, it's a little easier though.
Yeah, I've dabbled and I've played several tabletop adventure games of Star Trek over the last several months, since August, I want to say, and it's definitely fun. It's exciting. If you like improvisation, if you like to be on your toes, and you've got a solid game master, it's something that's always going to be engaging. And on top of that, even if you just get the books and you're a Star Trek fan, look, it's going to be an awesome addition to your collection. Throw it on your throw it on your coffee table, and it's going to be a conversation piece. Hey, what's this? Oh, it's a game. Want to play? Right, that's how you get people in. But more than anything, it is just such an in-depth look into Star Trek in a way that is seldom done. We can move on because you've got the next story, Tony.
Everyone knows what's the best temperature for serving revenge, right? But what about holiday cheer?
Oh, come on. What? Come on.
All right. You want that again? You want that again?
Yeah,
all right. Okay.
Yeah,
All right. Okay.
Give me some.
Everyone knows the best temperature for serving revenge. But what about holiday cheer?
Yes.
Is that what you're looking for? Is that what you needed there? I got you.
You know what?
That's
I think
it.
I want you to dial it up just one more notch.
Wait. Usually when I do that, you tell me to dial it back one.
Yeah. No,
You want me to go
What?
one more?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Goes to 11.
Assuming I've got another notch. That might have been the
Let's go.
top.
Let's
But do you
see.
think I got
Let's
another
see.
notch
No,
there?
I know you. I
I got another notch. Okay. All right. Here we go.
Here we go.
We're going to try this. We're going to give it a shot. Everyone knows the best temperature for serving revenge. But what about holiday cheer? Okay. Was that what you're looking for?
Oh my
Was that
god.
what you're, okay. That what you
for.
needed? Okay. There you go. That's for you.
Wine almost came out of my
That
nose.
was perfect, by the
Okay.
way.
Is it the steaming heat of a mug of mulled blood wine? The thrilling
no. You gotta
chill
go
of
back
a
and
full
forth.
impulse snowball
it
to
looks
the...
like it looks like you got to go back and forth.
Oh.
Is it the steaming heat? Or the
Okay, wait.
blood
So you want it dark, and then you want me to go
Yeah.
back up? Okay, here we go. Is it the
all looks
steaming heat of a mug of mulled blood wine? The thrilling chill of a full impulse snowball to the face? The searing torment of Grethor's flames? Who knows? The omnipotent Q knows, and he's oh so ready to share with you. Hang the gummy fish in your... Oh, wait, okay. Hang the gummy fish and prime your snowblowers. Q's Winter Wonderland approaches. The 2020 winter event runs from December 8th to January 7th on all the platforms. This year, all your favorite activities contribute daily.
Contribute. Yes.
To daily. Okay, well, I'll try that. Even Google didn't like that. There was a blue line underneath it. There we go. Okay. This year, all your favorite activities contribute to daily progress towards the new Tier 6 Goktad carrier. We have only a beauty shot of the flaming Fekleri vote. Is it Fekleri?
Fakiri.
Fakiri.
That's an I on an L.
That's an
Well, I think it's an L, but it's hard to.
It's the
pronounce it
silent
that way.
L.
Yeah.
That's so common in Klingonese.
Fekleri.
Fakir. I'm going to say Fakiri.
Fakiri.
That's
It's
fine.
Fakiri.
That just rolls
sounds-
off the tongue better.
It's Fakiri.
Okay. We have only a beauty shot of the flaming Fekiri boat to go on for now. Until ship stats are released, let's journey through the catalog of this year's wonderful new toys. The purple nanopulse Discovery era Batleth finally bridges the so-called red versus blue divide in Star Trek Online. Sort of. Be the pride of the quadrant with rainbow winter coats and faction-appropriate winter sweaters. Judge friends and family this year with the one chair that outranks the captain, the consumable Q's chair. Sing holiday carols of ice and fire with Grethor-themed training manuals and kit modules. And help is always on the way with the Rescue St. Bernard ground pet, which, oh, who cares about holiday theming? It's a puppy.
It's a puppy with a little hot chocolate.
It's a
Little
puppy.
Hot chocolate is
Yeah, that's not hot
whiskey.
chocolate there, buddy.
Like it's whiskey.
Yeah, but when I grew up and those dogs showed up on cartoons, it was hot chocolate.
No, the hot chocolate spiked with whiskey.
Did you grow up in Utah? Because that might be what happens in Utah. I lived there for several years. I think I can say that with some authority. Everywhere else it's whiskey, though.
Before we continue, I want to give a shout out to a bunch of people in the chat who are chatting it up and engaging with one another. Shout out to Eric who just showed up. Don't forget, captains. I mentioned this earlier in the stream. Chatting is amazing. It's so helpful, but don't forget that also reacting to the video, like giving the thumbs up. If you're on Facebook, a like or a reaction is also just as important. The same thing on Twitch and YouTube. So wherever you're watching, make sure to hit all those things that help the algorithm do its thing, because that really does help. So don't forget, and also share. If we're talking about Star Trek Online now, so hit that share button. So we got another Fakiri ship this year.
Yeah.
It
What's up
is
with that?
going to be a count. It's going to be unlock. It's all right. Hold on a second. Something confused me though. There was a headline that said that these ships would now be faction unlocks.
Well, the event
Weren't
ships
they all?
always are, yes. They think they're referencing that now the Titan is now available to KDF and Fed.
No,
So-
something specific about this
Yeah, they're
particular
talking about the Purple Nanopulse Discovery era Batleth. So that anybody can get this Batleth now. Usually it's just Klingons. But
okay.
I mean, the rumors around are that maybe the faction walls are going to come down a little bit more, that there'll be more stuff that's more universal and not faction specific.
No. According to it's something else. I misunderstood it. In addition to this brand new ship, quote from Star Trek Online's Twitter account,
Ooh.
we'll be making the Tier 5 Karfi, the Skun fighters,
Oh.
and the Ferjai fighters available to all factions.
Okay, so those were Klingon specific if you had those T5 ships, which you could only get if you were KDF.
Right.
But man, the new sweaters are super cool. I can't wait to get those. And of course, the puppy. Who doesn't want a puppy pet?
Right.
It's just low hanging fruit.
It's a
It's
Saint
too easy.
Bernard. I mean, it's a Saint Bernard. Come on, it's adorable. Who
With a
doesn't
little,
want
with a little
that?
barrel, tiny
Little
barrel.
I know,
Barrel
with
of
the
hot
whiskey.
chocolate.
Nope.
Hot chocolate. I'm just gonna protect you. You've ruined my innocence this whole time. I thought it was hot chocolate.
It's a
Really?
it's a
In those Bugs Bunny cartoons, that
in those
Saint
Bugs Bunny
Bernard,
cartoons,
yes, did not
it
have
was-
hot chocolate. It
I
was
remember
not
him
hot
having hot
chocolate.
chocolate.
No,
Maybe
it was
Tiny
not.
Toons, it was hot chocolate.
It was a hot toddy, is what
Yeah.
that was.
Well, closing out this week's news with some light frivolity because, dang it, we've earned some. On November 30th, the Star Trek Online Twitter account shared a picture of Grudge, Discovery Season 3's breakout star, in the NCC 1031A's captain's chair. Cryptic mused that they're, quote, wondering what her voiceover rate is, end quote. But it's undoubtedly worth it. Grudge's vocal performances are second only to Morn's and would only enrich the game further. No word on how Captain Killy, remember her, might react should they cross paths in game, but consider this, captains. Grudge is already a queen. Might she, dare we suggest, be an emperor as well?
I think I like that even better than my whole revenge thing earlier. I mean,
Yeah, that was
really
good.
good. That was,
No, what I want
That was
is for,
Scooby Doo esque.
what I want is for Grudge to be like that cat in Captain Marvel. That's what I want. I want Grudge to be like
oh
Oh.
yeah.
that at the
Well,
end
there's
of the
obviously more happening with Grudge, but can we have Grudge in the game, please? Because we need more pets.
They need, well, if they're going to do cats, they need to fix the fur.
They have cats.
I know. But the cats that are there already kind of look like
Oh.
these little porcelain things that.
Yeah,
walk
they
around.
don't. I mean,
So-
they all
The
look
cats need hair tech?
short-haired.
So art department, update the fur. Update fur. That's your number one thing for 2021. Update fur for pets.
Yeah. But cross everything else off the whiteboard and
Everything off.
and move fur to the top. Yeah.
Everything on.
Though
Everything on.
I did learn something new in Stowe that I didn't realize this week.
Oh.
They're Siamese cats. I did not know this. I thought that the blue Russians were the only purple quality ones, but no, they're Siamese, and there's 0 on the exchange. Well, what the heck? I need more Siamese cats. And you have to use Lobby to get them. Good thing there was a Lobby sale, because that's what I spend my Lobby on, if you were wondering.
Cats, not ship packages,
Nope.
not
No.
consumables, not uniforms.
Nope, none of that. I got cats.
For the record, the song "We Are Siamese" did in fact pop into my head from 101 Dalmatians.
Aw.
But
Obviously.
I believe that movie now comes with a disclaimer because that is a racist song.
It is oh my god, I
Super
just thought of
racist.
it. Yes, it
It's
is.
super racist.
Pretty
That
soon,
song-
people are going to go back and just like turn off all the Disney movies, like
That
all
song
of them,
is
Like,
hella inappropriate.
all of them.
Yeah. I mean, when did that movie come out though?
60s.
60s. Yeah, that was hella racist.
I think we're done
yeah.
with Stone News.
Yes.
Let's see. Hold on. We're gonna go to.
I can sweep this out or
Yeah, go ahead and sweep us out. Actually, Tony, can you sweep us out?
Yes, I can. That's the news from Trek Games this week. Now let's look on screen for the newest episode in the Star Trek multiverse.
Awesome. All right. 42, 40, 4240. 4240.
4240.
Yeah, I have to use the bathroom real bad. I'll be right back.
Okay.
okay. All right. So
So,
So
sorry about my dogs in the background.
that's okay. You can fix them post.
Yeah, that is true. I can fix it in post.
I'm not one to bring up dogs barking in the background. Welcome to my world.
It's harder to fix cat in post because she has copy that she has to say. You know, we can't edit out the dog when she's talking.
Yeah.
They've gotten much better about being quiet.
They have
though.
been. Yeah, they have been. And you fed the cat, so that's you're clear on
Yeah,
that
she
end.
was upset. I totally forgot when I came up here to bring her food.
Our cat, our old cat, helps us out by beginning to meow at whoever is around at 4:30. Her dinner is at 6 every day, and she knows this. She knows her dinner is at 6 p.m. every day, but she starts sending out reminder meows at 4:30 just so that we know.
Yeah,
Just
my
so that we're
dogs
sure.
start doing. Yeah, they get fed at 5:30. They start 3:30. They're like, okay, we could use a
We
snack.
could eat now.
Yeah, we could eat now. It's
We can eat
fine.
now. Is there an appetizer course? Can we look at the wine menu?
Yeah, let's have some hors d'oeuvres.
Let's have some
That'll
hors
be
d'oeuvres.
nice.
Yeah, just some cucumber sandwiches, finger foods, some just sort of nosh on till the appointed hour.
Yeah, have you guys been watching anything good besides the stuff we're about to talk about? Well, even good being relative.
You'll probably hate me, but I didn't watch this episode yet.
Well, you didn't miss much.
I mean, don't give away the story yet, Kat.
Oh, sorry.
Not yet. Just save it. Save it for the show. But yeah, no, I haven't watched it yet, but there are two things I'm looking forward to very soon. Number one, The Expanse is coming back. I think it's the 16th. Looking forward to that.
Nice.
And number two, Letterkenny is coming back.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
saw
after
that.
I
Christmas.
forgot about that. Yeah.
Nice.
So
I'm back.
it's Christmas. I'm getting The Expanse not for my birthday, but close enough that it counts, and I'm getting Letterkenny for Christmas.
nice.
So I mean that's
So
good.
we're gonna jump around a bit. We're gonna do feedback and closing next because Robert's supposed to come on and
Sweet.
But we're recording too fast.
Huh?
Are we
Or
recording
slow.
too fast? Did you expect him to? Was he supposed to be here at 9:30 or something like that?
No. I specifically made it so that since he's gonna be on for after hours, I figured it would just be easier.
Oh, like all right, that makes sense.
So we're gonna rearrange it. So feedback, Tony. Are you guys ready, or do you guys need a break?
Yeah. No, we're ready.
No, we're good.
Oh, I'm right. I'm good.
So feedback is 45-40. Let's just say.
Right.
Feedback in 3, 2, Well, Captains, hailing frequencies are now open, and we're ready to receive all of your incoming messages.
2 weeks ago, our first community question was, do you think LeVar Burton should be the next host of Jeopardy? Did you sign the petition? If not, who should be the next host?
Back to me, I guess.
Your turn.
Yes.
After
On
you.
Twitter, David writes, absolutely he should. He'd be great. My three favorite shows growing up were TNG, Reading Rainbow, and Jeopardy. So in my mind, LeVar Burton would be perfect to host Jeopardy. You know, you did not.
You didn't mute your mic.
Yeah, sorry.
I so relate to you right now. It's fantastic.
You know what's funny? I'm glad this didn't happen where you guys just thought it was in my head.
Yeah. It's so refreshing to have him,
Yes.
him and the dogs out of your skull space, out in the real world.
You know, Brandon, you could
Sorry,
just mute
guys.
yourself in Riverside,
Oh yeah.
and then unmute yourself when you want to talk. You could
We
do
we
that.
know you're real now. It's okay.
I was actually like trying to mute my mic, and then there's like two inputs, and I muted the wrong input. I was
You
like,
did.
oh.
You did.
Awkward.
Fortunately, you didn't say anything out loud that we haven't thought about one of our pets at some time or another. It's okay. It's okay. You are the voice in our heads, Brandon. You are that voice.
Are these all crossed out for a reason?
They're
I think they're last
week's.
week's.
Yeah.
They're the last ones.
So
This is
that's-
about two
we
Vics.
only had one.
Yeah.
One reply.
Yeah.
Anthony specifically said so in the production chat.
Oh,
Mhm.
He said there's only
I
one.
think we should not do feedback this week.
Well, okay.
How about? Well, Captains. Okay. Well, Captains, we took the week off, and as a result, no hailing frequencies. So that wraps up episode 488 of Priority 1. Oh, I should fucking do a time.
So do you want to close that out just in case you do want to use it, and then we'll start a
No.
closing segment, or
No,
we can
it's
just
just-
keep the clock running and it can be a one big segment, and we'll just keep the clock running. Just keep or whatever.
Yeah, it'd be a lot easier to edit
Do me a favor,
afterwards. if we do
write down
that.
this number for feedback closing. 4820, please, Tony.
All right.
Well, Captains, hailing frequencies are open, but we took a week off, so no replies to our community questions. As a result, that wraps up episode 488 of Priority 1, a Roddenberry Star Trek podcast. But there are more great shows available to you on the Roddenberry Podcast Network. Just visit podcasts.roddenberry.com for a complete list. Then be sure to subscribe to them all and share them with your friends.
And we can't forget to send a special thanks to some of our Patreon supporters like David K. Rutley, Peter Archibald, Gerald Bosch, and Joshua Selig.
Just skip it.
Yes.
Just go. Okay. Captains, it's important to us that you get your voice heard and that you participate in the conversation. Leave us a comment on our website at PriorityOnePodcast.com, on our Facebook page at Facebook.com/PriorityOnePodcast, or you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at PriorityOnePod.
This cat.
That's for Cat.
Oh, sorry, I was
Bad Elliot.
responding. Sorry. And if you're still craving more, be sure to spend time with Winters, Anthony, Thomas, me, plus the rest of the Priority 1 Armada. Saturday nights, the Armada broadcasts live to review the latest news from Star Trek Online and the Armada community, including spotlighting some of our amazing members. With regular giveaways, there's something for all Star Trek Online players, whether you're new or a veteran. So follow us on all our social media accounts for broadcast times. And if you'd like to join the Armada, visit PriorityOneArmada.com.
Priority One podcast is a community endeavor put together by a group of volunteers who donate their time and talents to produce the quality show you've come to expect from week to week. And just like community theater relies on its community, we rely on you to support us and make sure we keep the lights on and continue to produce the quality content you've come to expect. So please consider becoming a patron over at patreon.com/Priority 1. There you'll find some awesome There you'll find some incentives for why you should There you'll find some awesome incentives for why you should consider a monthly contribution.
Don't forget to tune in to Priority One Productions' Guard Frequency podcast at guardfrequency.com. Each episode, the Guard will take you inside the universe of your favorite space sims, including a tabletop adventure played out by your hosts. And Heroes Rise brings you up to date with the world of Dungeons and Dragons. Learn all about the latest publications, tools, tips, tricks, and traps in less time than it takes to skin a wyvern. Head over to heroesrisepodcast.com to discover their secrets.
Thanks to our audio editors, including Gray, Brandon, William, Rand, Daniel, Roscoe, Skiffy. Thanks to our live screen. Hey,
you got another promotion.
There you go.
You know what? That completely slipped. That was Freudian. A very special thanks to our live stream technician, Brandon Parker. Thanks to our producer, Jake, and associate producers, Shane and Thomas. Together, they help us organize and write up our summary of the weekly headlines from the Star Trek multiverse. Thanks to our social media manager, Anthony. Thanks to our graphic artist, Henry, with support from Jason of the Priority One Armada. Thanks to the composer of our theme music, Chris Watts. But most importantly, a big thanks to you, the Star Trek community, our listeners, because without your ongoing support, none of this would be possible. All right, that ended at 1 hour and 14 seconds. Wait, 1 minute? What happened here?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
That's really weird. Why did it do 1 minute now? All right, I'm going to hit stop. And hopefully everybody's stuff will start loading up.
Mine says it's processed.
All right. Yeah, mine too.
You'll just have a separate file for on
For
screen.
everything that's, it's about to happen.
That's fine.
Robert says he'll be here in 5. I'm going to go into the dashboard a second. It may disconnect me. I'll be right back. Oh, wait, no. I take it back.
Don't break anything.
Oh, no, it opened up a new thing. All right, cool.
Should we try to make it radio while you're doing this?
Yeah, that'd be delightful.
Okay.
So we're not done with the show, guys.
We still got on screen to do.
Yeah.
We're not done. We're just doing this out of order.
Yeah, it's not over. Don't leave.
It's not over till it's over.
Yeah, we got at least like 35, 40 minutes worth of stuff to talk about on Discovery.
Yeah.
Bare minimum.
Yeah.
We're just
We
waiting for
haven't
Robert,
even.
because Robert's going to fill us in on some astrometrics-y kind of things.
Oh, yeah. Zeph, you got a paid gig right now to premiere the ships. I heard about that.
What's this business?
Yeah, Zeph. Zeph Films now is professional.
Professional how?
So STO is gonna give him cash money.
Oh,
do
wait.
ship films?
Apparently, no.
Oh.
Oh, million. No, wait, but
Oh,
at least something.
I think he's kidding.
Well, he should. I'm saying he should. I mean, that's.
Should. Yeah,
Is
he
he-
should.
Oh, no, that's totally wrong, apparently. Well,
Getting all
you should.
excited.
Well, I
Yeah.
thought I saw something about that. Oh.
This is how
Okay,
wild.
well, this is a troll thing. So Zeph got trolled, and now it's created rumors, and they're not
This is
true.
this is how internet rumors get started.
This is how Tarantino and Pegg got beef.
Exactly. That's how they got right. This is how.
Twitter.
I saw on the internet you said this thing about the stuff.
I can't believe you said that thing about me. Oh my
Can
god.
you believe that?
Ugh,
No
so
man,
rude.
we're cool. We're cool.
I'm hungry.
Well, that sucks. But yeah,
Well,
no, it's
you have plenty of turkey, I hear.
That's true.
Have some.
Well, Zach, we are auditioning. So if you guys didn't hear already, we're auditioning for a new voice on the show. So yeah, I'll update the website by the end of the week, and
Zeph says he's the new co-host.
Yeah, someone's gonna send him an email telling him that we just hired him.
Yeah, no money though. Sorry.
This is most definitely not a paid gig. That's for sure.
this is definitely not a paid gig.
If we're a paid gig, we would hire people better than us to do it.
Oh my God, y'all! My mom called me last week, and she's like, "What's that podcast that you were on?" And I had to send her a link. I'm like, I hope this isn't one I complained about my parents on.
That's funny.
We usually edit that out, don't we, Brandon?
I hope so.
We do.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank God, because I'd feel bad if my parents were listening. Hey, don't watch Fox News, Mom and Dad.
It's always awkward. My mother has asked for that information, I believe, twice in the entire time I've been doing this. And I've always been like, why? Why? Because I met this person who said that they really like Star Trek. And I said, you do this thing? I'm like, okay. Yeah, there's like, this is just like, what are you doing podcasting, Mother? And what are you going to break on your iPad and or laptop that I'm going to have to fix?
I know, seriously. I sent her the link, but she won't know what to do with it. It's fine.
I typed that into my phone and I got a disconnected number. Oh, well.
Yeah, my mom never calls me. I have to call her, but if she calls me, of course, I think something terrible's happened, and she's like, "We can't log into Netflix."
In her defense, that is kind of an emergency.
Well, I understand, but I'm like, I thought something terrible happened.
Something terrible did happen. She can't watch the Sherlock Holmes movie with Millie Bobby Brown. Are you kidding?
Oh, actually, that's a really good movie.
I enjoyed it too. That's why I said that. I don't remember the name of it, but it was fun.
It's Enola Holmes.
Enola Holmes, that's right.
Yes, and Henry Cavill's in it. Yeah.
I am so sad as we wait here for Dr. Robert.
As you say that, he shows up.
Wait, what?
Yay!
I was on the phone with my aunt, who was very difficult to disconnect from. So.
Oh, where you say, "Well, I gotta go now," like 17 times.
That was about it.
So, Elio, you were sad? Are you still sad?
I'm sad that I wasn't able to get my new AMD Ryzen 5950X, nor was I able to get my hands on a 3880.
Right, because if you've been paying any attention to this stuff for the last month, you'd know that those things are almost impossible to get.
If Robert is going to grab
no,
he bought one. He's going to go pull one out.
He's
going to go pull one out of his off the.
Or his.
He has it. Oh, look at. Oh no! It's his Klingon ship. Oh wow, it's done.
Wow.
It probably has an AMD processor in it, though.
Holy
Look at that.
Holy, that is amazing.
Wow. Robert.
And really, him walking towards the camera, holding it out in front of him, was a nice touch. It's like the Klingon cruiser's approaching.
Exactly.
Wow.
It's all about presentation.
It's all about presentation. That looks really good.
That
That's
the D7?
fantastic.
I feel like we need background music, and this should last for about 5 minutes.
Yeah. No, Brian, Brandon, get the Klingon theme. Get the Priority 1 Klingon theme.
Yeah,
Yeah. All right,
that's a
okay.
D7.
Then I can accurately make this joke. Robert, I was so impressed when you walked over here with your giant D7.
What?
Oh. How wildly inappropriate.
I feel so violated.
I was gonna have a sit down talk with him as in my role as HR person around here for last week's after hours, but I think I'll also tack that on too.
Yeah.
It'll be a two-parter.
Sure.
Two-parter meeting.
That was that's the super scale model. Oh, I guess I should turn the lights off.
Do you do that from scratch? Like, how do you build that? Is that nothing but?
There's a kit, wasn't it?
Is it a kit?
Oh, yeah.
Or is it like
Definitely a kit. Oh my God! If that were a scratch built, you wouldn't have seen me for like a year of custom.
Well,
no,
how long did that take you? How long was that?
I've been working on the model for
At least a month.
4 months, give or take.
4 months?
Off and on. There's this great manufacturer that's doing new toolings of Star Trek models. I'm forgetting the name of the Polar Lights. They do lots of stuff. They got started sort of resurrecting the old kits, and then they went into like brand new toolings of things. And so they've been over the years. They've done these really huge scale versions of the Enterprise. Of the D7 came out last year. The Katinga. It's actually it's based very specifically on the Katinga from Star Trek: The Motion Picture, but I actually built it with the Star Trek VI Kronos One color scheme to it. So in 1993, I got a chance to see the filming model of that ship along with a lot of other Star Trek memorabilia at the National Air and Space Museum. A friend of mine, his aunt, actually worked there. And so we got a special tour when we were in town for an astronomy conference. And I had a slide camera that I took like a whole bunch of slides of that model thinking, oh, someday I'm going to use this for reference. So, 27 years later, I digitize those slides. I load them up on my iPad, and I'm there like masking it off and trying to get everything. It's
wow,
nice.
It's
Paid
close,
off.
so.
Took a while.
It's only 27 years later.
It was a long walk to the end to the payoff, but you got there.
And I'll say that they also, the lighting that's in it, actually they sell, the model was actually built for lighting, and they sell a separate lighting kit with LED lights and things. And so that was all you sort of off the shelf purchase stuff, but then with a lot of care and feeding to make it perfect.
Wow, looks amazing.
I'm very, very pleased with it. I smile every time I walk by it now. That was my try to finish it up over Thanksgiving project. I still have there are a few little niggling detail bits that still have to be put on the forward section of the secondary hull that are like just detailing bits, and that involves folding tiny little pieces of brass into origami shapes. And I haven't yet got the fortitude to try that part yet to finish it off. So maybe this weekend.
All right. As much as we all love ship porn, let's do a show, shall we?
Let's do a show. All right.
What do you want to do? Do you want to do astrometrics first, or do you want to do on screen first? I have a feeling your temperament will be much better if we did astrometrics before we did on screen.
Probably. Please don't tell me you guys are just going to completely shit all over something that I enjoyed greatly last week.
I hope that you will bring some life and love to the episode that we failed to see.
Oh my God! I have to say something just as a prelude before we jump into it. I want to give you guys a homework assignment, and not necessarily everyone, mainly just Tony and Elio, I think, but it's because I think you two really need this. I want to give you a homework assignment of go over and listen to another podcast on the Discovery Pod. This is one I was telling Ellie about last week, because I listened to their last couple reviews over the last few days, and it actually just made me feel good listening to them. And I realized when I listen to your reviews, I don't feel good. I feel miserable and unhappy. But I'm not saying that this is like you have to copy what they do for the review, but I would love you to actually step back for a second for all the issues you have with Discovery and listen to what it sounds like when people actually watch the same thing you watch, but actually kind of enjoy it. And they actually spend the hour really digging into what was on screen rather than just critiquing it. And when they do critique it, to do it in a way that it doesn't tear someone down, Robert, for liking it, because they have disagreements, but it's very positive spun.
So let me ask you this: is that show only a review show?
It is only a review show.
You see, so therein lies the problem. We're never going to be able to highlight and dedicate an entire time like that to be able to talk about particular scenes and whatnot, because on screen for us is on average 15 to 20 minute segment, right? So there's a lot to compress, especially the more voices we add to the conversation, the more chaotic it can be. So what we're going to always try to do, no matter what, is to constructively criticize, not just by saying things like, oh, it sucked, but explain why it sucked. Go ahead, Tony. You're muted, Tony. Tony, you're muted.
Tony,
actually, Tony works really well muted.
I worked really well muted.
Like the last 5 minutes.
Because what was happening was I said exactly the same thing Elio said. I was saying why it sucks. I mean, we said that at the same time. Right. Yeah. So
but the problem
being
is,
muted was okay.
And I'm going to throw this out of what there are a lot of your listeners, including me, who actually don't think it sucks. And when I listen to your show, all you do is you tear me off of actually having enjoyed watching it. And all you do is make me feel either stupid for liking it, or it's like it sucks all the joy out of watching Star Trek for me.
I have two good things to say about this episode. I have two very specific compliments that I want to give them on this episode.
Well, look, to say that, Robert, we have a show that's like in a magazine format, right? We cover general news, we cover gaming news, we cover at virtually any game that's Star Trek related, and we cover on screen. So hopefully there's going to always be something for everybody, and I am okay that you may skip forward ahead of on screen and jump straight to feedback or whatever. It's actually one of the reasons why we choose to move on screen towards the second half of the show, because Discovery is the new Star Trek is a very contentious, hot topic, right? And it's always going to be. And I'm never going to yield from the fact that if there is something that I don't particularly enjoy, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but I'm also not going to not say anything about it. I'm an artist, and it does me no good for people to always blow smoke up my butt saying, "Oh, you're such a great singer, and not give me and ignore criticism, ignore critique. I just did a competition. I just finished my part of a competition where it was the goal of it was to learn and grow as you continued on, right? So as an actor, as a creator, it is very important to listen to criticism. Is the general audience of Priority One actors or participants in Star Trek Online, in Star Trek for Star Trek Discovery? No, they're not. No, nobody's. No, I would say maybe one of the creative team from Star Trek Discovery listens to the show, if that. I don't know. I don't have any. I don't have any numbers or emails from them. But what I can do, or what I can try to do, is ask our audience to look at things from a different perspective, from a critical perspective. Whether you love it or not, I'm not going to change your mind if you love it or not. I'm never going to change your mind. I'm just saying though that,
well, like in the way that you guys had always covered, say Star Trek Online, where every other podcast was piling on and doom, everything was a horrible game and everything, it was just misery. You guys, covered it, and it made, every time I listened to Priority One, I wanted to go play it again. But when I listen to your, when you do Discovery, it makes me not want to watch the show. Which is sad because I actually like the show. So I'm just saying, it's like there's a point at which it's critiquing and pointing out direction could have been stronger. But when it's really like, yeah, we all just hate this. It's like then it's like it's all the joy gets sucked out of the room.
Except Robert, we want to love it. I want to.
No, but this is why I want to give you the homework assignment, because I would love for you just to sit and just listen to like an hour of a group of people who actually genuinely liked it.
Robert, you send me an episode that you thought that they provided.
Yeah. I'll listen. I'll listen to it.
I'll listen.
And it's just to and again, it's not like saying not to critique, but I just like sometimes I get so bummed.
I'm going to ruin Robert's night right now. Are you ready? Everybody watch his face. And what we'll do next time is we'll critique that show.
Yeah. Look, I didn't get my undergraduate studies in performing arts for me to, not do anything with it, right? I'm going to take the things that I learned from script analysis, from being a singing actor, from acting techniques, vocal technique, directing techniques. I'm going to take those things and I'm going to apply them. I've lived my life. Go ahead, Tony.
What we should do is we should do the Astrometrics Report.
Yes.
And
yes.
No, it's already started. I didn't get a timestamp. Start over.
All right, let's do a
Astrometrics Report.
All right, we are at. Oh, I have to start recording.
We're at 0 at this point, basically.
All right, we're at 0 at this point. So,
right.
Okay, Astrometrics in 3, 2. Captains, joining us on this episode of Priority One Podcast is our very own science advisor who forgot to silence his phone.
And guess what? My aunt is calling me back, so I'm going to click onto mute and I said, "Oh, I got to go on another call," and then she's like,
"It's all good."
I forgot on a call.
Captains, joining us on this episode of Priority One is our very own science advisor, Dr. Robert Hurt, to fill us in on the latest. So let's look up to the skies. Dr. Hurt.
Hello, everyone. It is a pleasure to be here. And while I actually come bearing a really cool astronomy mystery story that I've been wanting to talk about for a while, I would be remiss if I did not actually start with really downer sad news today, because if you had been catching the news feeds today, you might have seen that an iconic telescope has basically collapsed today. The Arecibo Observatory, which is just a big dish, a supervillain lair in James Bond. It has been having structural failures over the last month or so, and today the primary supports broke, and the science carriage that was held on cables, the 900 tons of stuff just came crashing down. So a telescope which actually was born the year I was born in 1963 has not lasted as long as me yet. So I'm trying not to take this personally. I don't want to connect my fate to it or anything, but yeah, it's
I'd seen over the past few months that bits and pieces of it started to fall down, but the whole thing just cratered. Is it?
Yeah, there were basically 3 big cabled support towers that held the whole
package,
receiver section was basically held by cables overhead, and those started snapping earlier, and there was already some damage to the dish when those started snapping, and then today it was a catastrophic failure. NSF had already actually declared that it was going to be dismantled because they didn't think it was reparable, but now it just was kind of
whole thing came down.
fallen down.
And what an iconic thing! I mean, we've seen it in so many films. You've seen it, in so
Contact.
many pictures.
Contact.
I know. I love that movie.
GoldenEye.
Yeah, it was. I mean, Contact is really like the film that takes you there and really gives you a feeling of what it was like to do research there. It was a really incredible piece of technology because when we couldn't build a radio dish that was large enough to really collect that much radio energy and be that sensitive, the idea of we found this concave depression in this area in Puerto Rico, we will use that to build our dish, and then we will suspend our receiver on top of that. And so we can't actually steer it, right? It could only point up, but it was built in such a way that you could sort of move the receiver, and you got a limited field of view that you could aim around in. And so Arecibo could, you had to wait for interesting things to kind of float overhead, and then you could track them for a little bit. But because of its size, it just had unprecedented sensitivity, and it really opened up the era of radio astronomy. So a sad loss. I mean, I haven't seen too much chatter about it, but I can't not believe that this wasn't ultimately driven by the hurricane and the horrible,
absolutely,
everything that suffered so badly across the island. The fact that the news stories I read today said that these cables were actually rated to support much more weight than they broke under was just suggesting that, for some reason they had failed. And I think it's just hard to imagine that all of the strain that it underwent during the hurricane winds didn't just suddenly just drastically reduce the structural integrity of everything. So, yeah.
For sure. Yeah. Well, here's to Arecibo.
Here's to Arecibo. Think of it in your thought. Go watch your favorite astronomy movie featuring it. It was even featured in X-Files, though I don't think they actually went there. It was sort of it was a reference, but they referenced it.
I remember it. Yes.
There's the alien outside in the rain and the storm.
Yes, I remember that episode. Wow.
But on a slightly more upbeat note, I just wanted to bring a kind of cool astronomy news snippet that I actually have gotten to follow very closely for the last 16 years. And this is one of those classic mystery stories that there was a project called GALEX. It was an orbital ultraviolet telescope. It's sort of outside the atmosphere, so that all the nice ozone layers that prevent ultraviolet from burning us too badly. It also blocks our view of it outside of the Earth. And so put a telescope in space and you can map out the galaxy in the ultraviolet. Well, what's cool about missions that have a goal to basically go and map as much of the sky as you can is that it opens you up for serendipity and discovery. And the researchers, when they were going through the images that they came in, every now and then you'd see something really weird and unexpected. What the hell is that? And I think one of the coolest things I remember, because we were always supporting their press activities, way back when it was a functioning mission 16 years ago. One day, the researchers came in with this picture, okay, well, we don't know what this is, but it's really cool, and maybe we should put an image out for it. We dubbed it the Blue Ring Nebula, because it was this weirdly elliptical nebula that only showed up in the far ultraviolet channel. It was completely absent in the near ultraviolet channel. And in fact, if you inspected optical maps of the region, it just wasn't a hint of this anywhere else in any image that had been taken. And what was so awesome about it is
that you see depictions of that it looks like an eye.
Yeah, it looks like an eye, right? And then, so what was so cool about it was like, we literally haven't seen another thing like this in the whole survey, right? There's just this one spot, and there's this weird round eye-shaped nebula, and literally have no explanation of what it is. So, and in fact, I remember like when this first came up, we kept thinking, well, maybe we should just put it out as a mystery nebula and a challenge for other people to solve. And we actually, the researchers kept thinking like, yeah, but let's go take some more data. Let's see if we can figure it out. Well, over the years, they went and they hammered like with telescopes in space and on the ground and looked at it in all sorts of ways and found interesting things like there's a central star at the core of this nebula, had an excess of infrared light, suggesting there was some like dust disk somewhere down there around the star. When they searched in optical light, they actually found that there were these two rings of what we call H-alpha emission. It's basically hydrogen gas excited and to light up at a particular wavelength of light. And that they kind of weirdly outlined the edges of the nebula. And eventually, it was a researcher at Caltech who kind of put all the pieces together, and they figured out that what this seems to be is the aftermath of a merger between two stars. One star about the size of our sun that was nearing the end of its life and swelling and becoming large, orbited by a small star that's only like maybe 100 times the mass of Jupiter, that was actually getting dragged into the big star as it was starting to interact with the outer envelope. And as it did, it actually got ripped apart, and it formed this weird disk of material around it that then constrained the material expanding out from that merger into two cones that were sort of aligned almost on our line of sight. And so what they basically came up with was this model, like you have these two cones, almost but not quite aligned with us. And where those cones overlapped, there was enough light from the ultraviolet to add up to become that nebula that we saw. And while we suspect this kind of merger happens relatively frequently in the galaxy with as many stars that are out there and how common that binary stars are, this is the only example we found of something in such a near term after that merger that has still left this sort of echo of light from that actual event. So,
and it's pointed at us in just the right way so that we get that odd image that caught people's eye.
So in fact, if we were to rotate it on the horizontal plane, 90 degrees, it would look like two cones.
Exactly.
Coming together.
And in fact, that was what I got to contribute to this result, because I've been with that team ever since day one when they first brought that in, going, oh, we got to put this out. Once we figured it out, I actually was able to do a 3D visualization because I wanted to help them sort of figure out what geometry of material could reproduce that cone. And while they had the general model, they didn't have a full-on volumetric model. So if you go to the news release at JPL or at NASA, there's a little movie that starts with the image and then it fades off into like solid cones to help orient you, and then goes from there into sort of this glowy volumetric sort of recreation of the one viable model of what would produce that elliptical cone.
JPL Raw's YouTube channel?
It should be on the JPL YouTube channel. Yeah, I can give you a link for the show notes.
Please do. Yeah, that's a cool picture, and I think probably anybody who's a star buff has probably seen it at some point. But having a real explanation for why it looks the way it is cool. And mystery solved, like you said.
Yeah, it's one of those fun stories that someone sees something weird in a data set that wasn't part of a targeted observation, right? The idea of discovery, that we have a lot of missions that are out there. Their goal is to survey the whole sky at a particular wavelength or in a particular way. And it's in part to directly address problems we know that will actually give us some kind of cool answers and cool data. But what's always wonderful about a survey is this chance serendipity of seeing something that no one expected. No one would ever have pointed a telescope in that direction to study that particular star, and discovering, after 16 years of trying to solve this mystery and pulling in data from so many different telescopes on the ground and in space to actually finally have all the pieces you need to go, I see how this connects with this other research someone did on what happens when two stars merge.
Awesome. Well, Dr. Hurt, thank you so very much for stopping by this episode and providing us with a unique look into some different perspectives while looking up into the universe. Now let's look on screen for the next episode of Star Trek Discovery, Unification Part 3. 11:27, Tony?
Do you want me to do another sweeper for gaming? Because I swept us out of gaming into on screen.
Oh, yeah, go ahead and do
yeah.
sweep us out of gaming and do now let's welcome Dr. Robert Hurt for this week's Astrometrics Report.
And we could splice it in later.
Yep. You'll fix it in post. Okay, here we go. 3, 2. Well, that's all we have this week in Star Trek Gaming. Now let's welcome Dr. Robert Hurt for this week's Astrometrics Report.
All right, so actually do the timestamp 12 instead of whatever you had before.
12 minutes, okay.
Yeah, 12 minutes instead of whatever it was. All right. Man, Robert, you've upset me, man.
Do we need to get Roscoe in here? Do we need to get Roscoe in here to do it?
You know why?
This is me getting even in advance because I know at the end you guys are going to have me all bummed out and upset. So I guess I just jumped the gun. And
Robert, do you want me to save my 2 good things for the end? Do you want me to save the 2 things I really liked about this episode for the end, so we can leave on the high note? Can we do that?
Sure.
I'll do that so you can walk away. We can walk away with it on high.
We have done so hard. We've tried so hard for a 15 to 20 minute segment to make sure that not only are we offering criticisms, but that we're spotlighting some of the most
Here's my suggestion.
acclaim-worthy moments of the episodes. And
We should just get on with it.
All right, fine. We'll get on.
That's what I think we should do. We should stop
Just
talking about it and just do it.
Fine.
just be all angsty now. I've given you reason. I've brought out the angst in this conversation.
All right. 13. Oh, actually, I should open up on screen. Okay. 13:20, Tony.
All right.
Okay. On screen in 3, 2. Computer. Set Star Trek Discovery Season 3, Episode 7, Unification Part 3. On screen.
Scene. Interior. Writer's room. A select group of 12 Star Trek executive producers listens to a pitch for a Season 3 episode of Discovery. Writer. Hi, everyone. I was asked to move the burn plot forward because we're halfway through the season, so I thought we'd check on the Vulcans after 1,000 years. And I thought with Burnham being Spock's sister, we could call back to the Unification episodes because that was his life's work and ultimately caused his death in the Prime Universe. Exec number 1. I love it. We can bring back a clip from The Next Generation with Leonard Nimoy. Exec number 2. Do we want to go there? I mean, we did put canon in a blender to avoid all this historical baggage. Damn it. Exec number 2. Do we want to go there? I mean, we did put canon in a blender to avoid all this historical baggage. Exec number 3. No, wait, I like it. We can also bring the Romulan stuff from Picard in here too. Writer. Well, sure, we can refer to it, but I really want to show how much things have changed on Vulcan, and Michael would know this, and really feel it. Like, the crew needs the science data about the burn, and the old Vulcans would have shared it, but these new Vulcans are like the Vulcans in Enterprise, secretive and distrusting. Like, without the Federation, they regressed. Exec number 4. Yeah, well, that's because the Romulans have moved in. Their planet was destroyed, so they have to live on Vulcan now. Exec number 5. Sure. And we can have the warrior nuns be a big part of this, like they were in the Picard show. Exec number 6. Hey, we should get one of the actresses
Jesus,
who was...
Tony, how long does this go?
Oh my God.
It was a long meeting.
Wow, it's a lot. There's a lot of executives.
There's a lot
For
of
the
executives.
record,
Have you
I
ever
did not
watched
write
the
this.
credits to this show?
For the record. What?
Have you ever watched the credits?
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of...
Ooh.
There's like 19. This isn't even all the executives.
Okay.
Don't worry, it gets to 12 and then it stops.
Yeah, that's a long tradition on everyone who is a writer has to be an executive producer of something now. But yeah,
All right, let's go.
Exec number 6. Hey, we should get one of the actresses who was in the Picard show and age her like 500 years to provide more of that cross-series synergy like the MCU.
I
Right.
heard cross series, not cross series.
Damn it.
And age her.
And age her like 500 years to provide more of that cross-series synergy like the MCU. Writer. I mean, we could, but bringing in the Romulans takes away from Michael being an authority on how things used to be and would lessen her ability to anchor the story for the audience. Exec 7.
You know what? I'm feeling like we should redo this. Where like Kat, you be the writer, and then Tony and I be the execs.
Oh, that.
So let's.
Oh,
should
hell,
be-
bring Brandon and Robert in on this too.
Yeah, I think
All right.
we've got 12.
Well, you're not-
We've got. So we can just do 4. Yeah, we'll just do 4. Here we go.
All right.
Oh, I don't have the document.
Oh, we can. Can we share it? Here,
Well,
we can
how
share it.
many- Yeah, it should be shareable.
Yeah, hang on.
Well,
Oh.
first,
Oh, you're
Tony,
not-
fix it because if it's just
Yeah. I'll fix it. You do the document to Robert.
Alright.
See, this is one reason. This is one way a writer's room is good. This is an example of how a writer's room improves things.
I
we're
wasn't
doing
sure
right
how
now.
darkly cynical you were being right now, or if it was some appreciation of how a plot is how they break a plot.
It's a little of both. It's a
And I
little
didn't
of
mean
both.
break a plot like damage it. I mean, that's actually the term you break.
Robert.
Right, like
Robert,
someone
on
starts with an
Riverside,
idea and then
there
it goes
is an
someplace
option
else.
For chat, on the left side panel, click on the chat, and then there's a link. In
Oh, on the chat. Oh, I see. Right.
Yep.
There we go. I had missed the chat box.
I just need to know who's reading who.
Okay, so
I'll
Elio.
be writer. I'll be
Yeah,
writer.
Kat will be
Okay, all right.
writer.
Cat's a writer. Elio, you go 1. Robert, you go 2. Brandon, you're 3, and I'll go 4.
Wait, I'm not being recorded though. On
You should be. Oh, you're a producer. He's not being recorded.
He's not being
Oh,
recorded.
man.
No,
Oh,
so-
well, all right. So
so
it's just
Brian
1, 2,
can
3.
have
So
it.
Elio
Yeah.
1, Robert 2, and I'll be 3.
okay, fair enough.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
let me.
or does Robert want to be the writer? And then,
I'm good. That's fine.
all right.
Cat
Oh,
called dibs.
Howard, that sticks me with the Canon and Blender line, which.
Oh, you want that one?
Do you want the line? Or you
can?
No,
don't want the
I
line?
don't.
You don't. Want
I don't
the line.
want. Tony needs to be 2 because that's his.
No.
thing.
Tony needs to be 3. Tony needs to be 3 for sure. You haven't gotten to
Okay.
that part yet.
All right, so
Ah.
I'm executive 1.
So Robert would like to be executive 1.
Okay.
Elio
Let
can
me
be 2.
be 1.
All right. Robert will do 1. Elio do 2, and I'll do 3.
Okay, great. Now let's just take it from the top because it's going to be a lot easier. So, on
right.
the screen is starting at. What the hell's happening with these recordings?
Was I not being recorded the whole time?
I don't know.
Oh.
I think so. No, you were not. You were not being recorded the whole time. When you're
We'll fix it in post.
We'll fix it in post.
Yes, you do not have the little red dot. I see.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Besides, I have like thousands of dollars worth of equipment here anyway, so I'll just record myself.
So hopefully it'll set the timer back to 0. All right. On screen in 3, 2. Computer. Set Star Trek Discovery Season 3, Episode 7. Unification Part 3. On screen.
Scene. Interior. Writer's room. A select group of 4 Star Trek executive
Sorry, it's gonna be
producers.
3 now. Sorry.
Damn it.
Sorry.
Actually,
Oh,
you
by
know
the
what,
way,
let me-
we
I'll
don't,
read
and
this
we
part.
don't
I'll read
actually
this
say
part.
exec 1, 2, or
So-
3 at any point, right? We just dive in.
Yeah,
with
you just
the
read your
lines.
line.
Yeah, okay. I'm done.
I'll take it and then Kat, you'll be right. Okay. Scene.
Okay.
Interior, writer's room. A select group of 3 Star Trek executive producers listen to a pitch for a Season 3 episode of Discovery.
Hi, everyone. I was asked to move the burn plot forward because we're halfway through the season. So I thought we could check in on the Vulcans after 1,000 years. And I thought with Burnham being Spock's sister, we could call back to the Unification episodes because that was his life's work and ultimately caused his death in the Prime Universe.
I love it. We can bring back a clip from Next Generation with Leonard Nimoy.
I'm 2. Okay. Do we want to go there? I mean, we did put Planet. Do we want to go there? I mean, we did put canon in a blender to avoid all this historical baggage.
No, wait. I like it. We can also bring in the Romulan stuff from Picard in here too.
Well, sure, we can refer to it, but I really want to show how much things have changed on Vulcan. And Michael would know this and really feel it. Like, the crew needs this science data about the burn, and the old Vulcans would have shared it. But these new Vulcans are like Vulcans in Enterprise, secretive and distrusting. Like, without the Federation, they regressed.
Yeah, well, that's because the Romulans have moved in. Their planet was destroyed, so they have to live on Vulcan now.
Sure, and we can have the warrior nuns be a big part of this. Where like they were in the Picard show.
Hey, should we get one of those actresses who was in the Picard show and age her like 500 years to provide more of that cross-series synergy? You know, like the MCU.
I mean, we could, but bringing in the Romulans takes away from Michael being an authority on how things used to be and would lessen her ability to anchor the story for the audience.
Wait, I got it. We make Michael's mom the warrior nun. That way, we can still keep most of the canon in the blender, but stuff from last season of this show can still be relevant somehow.
Oh, yeah. And we can do like 3 or 4 scenes of mother-daughter things and emotional touchstones and stuff.
Oh, this is the way to go. I feel this.
So I need to spend less time on how Vulcan has changed and more time doing family drama, shoehorning the Romulans into the plot, shoehorning Michael's mom into the convent, and also advance the burn plot like I was asked to do?
Yes. And also, make Tilly the number 1.
You want me to demote Burnham to ensign and promote Tilly to commander? I mean, sure, that's a surprise twist. Kind of jarring, though.
Nah, just make her number 1. Wait. Acting number 1. So, we can demote her again later without it being a big deal. Oh, and let's rebrand the Vulcans to something with an apostrophe or something, just so everyone knows that it's the future.
You know, this episode is really going to be the rug that ties the whole franchise together. Oh! Speaking of the blender, who's got the Gary 7 Cleveland Booker reveal?
And scene. All right, captains, before we jump into our reviews, let's talk about some of the statistics. This episode was written by Kirsten Bayer, directed by John Dudkowski, and it premiered originally on November 5th.
No, it did. Sorry, that didn't change the date.
It was Thanksgiving.
November.
And it originally premiered in America, and it originally premiered in the United States on November 26th, 2020. All right, captains, joining us and sticking around for this segment is our science advisor, Dr. Robert Hurt, who you hear each and every week on After Hours, an extra podcast exclusive to our patrons. All right, so we've got some time. Let's talk. Let's kind of narrow down what we thought about the show. And that was Freudian.
Leading question.
Nice. Nice save.
And yeah, let's dive in. You know what? I want to go first, and because I honestly don't have much good to say about this episode, and I'm not going to yield to if you don't have anything nice, don't say anything at all, because I think that does no one any justice.
We know when to ignore maxims and proverbs, like the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. Let's ignore proverbs like if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Let's ignore all the proverbs, all of them. Ignore them all.
In a nutshell, I think the best way I can describe this episode for myself was that it really felt like I was watching a Maury Povich daytime talk show. I don't understand. There is so much that is not logical about anything that we were presented, from Burnham's mother joining the Quat Milat to having them do this odd presentation in front of a room that ended up just being a daytime talk show conversation between mom and daughter. Yeah, I didn't get any of it. And you know, and that was the main plot, right? That was plot A. Plot B was Tilly's story, right? And what's going on behind the scenes with the crew. And I gotta admit, I think I was on the Star Trek Facebook page or something, and somebody had made the joke, the snarky comment that, yeah, I really love the story, except Burnham keeps getting in the way. You know, I really want to learn about the crew, but Burnham keeps getting in the way. And this episode just did not do it for me. It did not. I don't see how this progressed the story forward. I've watched the episode twice, and I don't understand what cathartic evolution Burnham went through with her mom. I don't. What was that about? Did we watch a mommy-daughter reconciliation disguised as a Vulcan ritual? I don't understand. With respect to canon in a blender, not once did they mention the Romulan supernova. They never mentioned it at all.
They kind of don't need to.
Well, but and yet we see a holographic version of the late Leonard Nimoy, and we see references to Unifications Part 1 and 2. You know, they talk about his work in unifying the Romulans, and then the president, I think it was the president towards the end of the episode, says, yeah, and then Spock suddenly abandoned us. If I'm not mistaken,
no, she said Spock abandoned the Federation.
Yes.
Okay, it was the Federation.
Because he did.
Okay.
He did.
Remember,
he abandoned the Federation to go to Romulus to work on unification.
But in his defense, he saved. Well, not and he didn't abandon Romulus, nor did he abandon Vulcan, right?
No, she was specifically saying, why did he? She was pointing out that Spock abandoned the Federation.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. Spock left you guys. Why should we come back?
Exactly.
So,
he was a first mover. He was an early adopter.
I just in terms of presentation, I did not understand anything of what was going on. Not because I couldn't comprehend it, but mostly because why did we need this daytime talk show event for her to have some cathartic moment? Tony.
Are you looking for me? You're looking at me for answers here?
No,
I got nothing.
I'm looking for you to chime in with
yeah, no, I agree with you. It's a real conundrum they have, wanting to go 1,000 years into the future to not worry about canon so much, and then it's like cheat day on a diet. Like they just let's just have a little. Let's have a little canon. We'll just try a little bit, but let's be selective about it. Like, for example, referencing unification, but skipping over the whole Romulus blew up part. I mean, strictly speaking, they didn't need it. They just, the Romulans are here now, and that's just we're going to deal with that. They don't really need to go into the whole supernova thing. It's not required. So I can understand why they might have left it on the cutting room floor. A better choice might have been to address it head on, but they didn't need it. But that's the sort of thing that if you're a Star Trek fan who's enjoying the callbacks, it's jarring to miss that, right? So this is try. There's no try, do or do not bar from Star Wars. Leave the canon behind, or treat it like a resource and go all in on it.
Is it jarring because of what they're choosing? Like, for instance, they failed to mention the supernova, and yet we got a whole bunch of exposition about the Quat Milat from a series that aired months ago.
Well, and again, that's the other part of it that's jarring, is that they're choosing to not put in the blender stuff that is currently in production. Like that stuff is cool. Like we can go all in on that. But the stuff that from back then, we're going to pick and choose from. And I told Robert I was going to save my 2 compliments for the end, to end on a high note. I'm going to go ahead and pop one out here now. If they were going to pick something from canon, this is great. This was a good idea. This is a thing that is very, dare I say, logical to pull out from the canon and say, what has happened to these guys? And they were a founding member of the Federation and instrumental in humanity's launch into space and going out of poverty and war and stuff like that. What's up with those guys? That's a really good idea. And I'm even gonna like go, all right, fine, yeah, we need Burnham to do this because she grew up on Vulcan. Okay, all right, you know what? I'm fine. I'll roll my eyes at it, but you know what? That actually does make sense too. And then the wheels fell off. Started out with, I mean, it really this was a solid base. This was a very solid base.
Star Trek Online handled unification and the Romulus supernova destruction, I think, better than what we saw in this episode.
Yeah, but again, they don't need that. They didn't need it for the. They wanted to show a bit of Leonard Nimoy to Spock. They wanted to connect Burnham and Spock. They wanted to connect Burnham to Vulcan. They didn't necessarily need it.
Right.
They didn't need it. Yeah, I mean, I love unification. I love the story. I love Spock, but so much Burnham. I agree that it's. I want to see more of I want to see more of the other crew. I want, the episodes, like, we're never going to get a Data's Day episode with Detmer or Reese or anybody, because it's always Burnham. Not that I like her, but
my son called the show "Leave It to Burnham." I mean, that's.
I commented on this.
Yeah,
last
we've
week on
talked
After
about
Hours
this.
That this is the premise. Like it or not, that's what the show was designed to be. This is a show that is about a particular character with a supporting cast around her. And the problem is it's going to be that next week, and it will be that the week after, and you're going to complain about it every time. But the point is,
yes,
that's what this show is. So I'm just saying, deal with that and try to see if you can enjoy, given the premise. She is the Kirk of this show. In fact, if you think about it, right, she is the Kirk of this show, because Kirk, basically everything was about Kirk in the original series. Every story, he was the linchpin, with rare exception. There was the Galileo 7 where it got spotted, but again, that's out of 70. How many? 76 episodes, 78 episodes. There were probably 2 or 3 that did not center on Kirk. And we're only at.
You evoked Kirk, and as a matter of fact, Tony, didn't we just have a long conversation in the executive chat?
Yeah, we did. There? I don't want to go there though.
I want you to. Please do.
You want me to go there?
I want you to go there.
Okay, so what Robert, I completely get where you're going with the Kirk. She is the central character, right? She is the Kirk of this series. She's the Picard of this series. She's the Sisko of this series.
Well, she's even more the Kirk. Actually, I specified Kirk because Picard was part of an ensemble.
Yes,
Sisko was part of an ensemble. Archer was part of an ensemble, but Kirk was the central star of the show.
Right. I'm the structural guy, so this is where I'm going to go with this. Back in the olden times, when the credits rolled in Star Trek in the 60s, it was William Shatner, Leonard Nimoy, and then everybody else came after.
DeForest Kelley. It's actually the 3.
Well, hold on. But when it was first, it was just Shatner and Nimoy at first. DeForest Kelley got added. DeForest Kelley was not in season 1. I think in season 2 he got in the top 3. He was part of the top 3. So, so even then it was the Shatner Nimoy show, not necessarily just the Shatner show. So that's number 1. Number 2 is that we're back in the 60s where you had the episodic thing was very strong. This is a serialized deal. It's a 10-hour or 13-hour long movie. You can't do that you can't just be one person for 13 hours. Let's say, but the third final, it's the characters that are different. It's their approach to being the person in the spotlight. With Kirk, it was, I'm in charge of a team and I'm part of something bigger than me, and I have rules and norms that I have to at least attempt to adhere to. And if I'm going to break those rules or go against it, I'm going to take the consequences, or I'm going to work around them. I've got this prime directive and I'm going to wrestle with it, but I'm going to come up with a solution that stays within it. But if I decide to steal the Enterprise someday because my friend is more important, I've decided my career is over. Kirk, you do this, you'll never sit in the captain's chair again. Warp speed. He was told flat out what the consequences were and said, yep, that's what they are. I'm done. But with Burnham, she's like, do something. No, yes, sir. I'll go right ahead and do this. And then just something opposite.
You look at other secondary officers, right? You look at Riker. You look at the only time that a secondary officer has really gone off the rails was Spock for the Star Trek within a Star Trek episode.
The Menagerie.
The Menagerie.
Mastery, yeah.
So that's
And he was
really-
doing that for Pike.
right. So
It wasn't for
it's
him.
not-
It wasn't his burning need to know something. It was because Pike needed him to do it. She does it because she feels the need. She has to. Her explanation to Tilly this episode was, I had to do it.
So I get it.
That's it.
You know, this is the Burnham show. I get it. Okay, I'm gonna keep watching and going on for this ride to see what happens. It doesn't mean I have to like it, but I'm gonna try to find things that I like, and I'm gonna try to find things that I enjoy from the episodes, like stellar acting, stellar moments of the episode that real, like, you know, I think back 2 or 3 episodes ago with Giorgio and
The interrogation.
David
the interrogation
Cronenberg.
with David Cronenberg and Michelle Yeoh. Wonderful episodes, wonderful cinematic drive, but we cannot be forgiving of Star Trek. We cannot. You know, we can love it, and and I will continue to watch it, and I will continue to love it. And I will continue to show up at conventions and, you know, buy Starfleet paraphernalia and Star Trek goodies.
This isn't good radio, but I'm showing everybody my Lower Decks T-shirt.
Aw.
But in an age where television is king right now, and you've got a show, another science fiction show on another channel, on another paid-for channel that is doing remarkably better, and manages
What are you
to
talking about?
Mandalorian. You have to have better standards of writing. You have to have better standards of crafting a journey. This season started off strong, and then these last 2 episodes have been weak, in my opinion.
So when do I get to interject a counterpoint?
Go ahead, go.
I would love to hear the counterpoint.
So I'm going to come in and basically say I am watching a completely different show than all of you, because I think this season has been getting stronger every episode. This episode really resonated with me emotionally. I was surprised how much I really, really enjoyed this journey. Starting from, like you say, Tony, there were some really good strategic choices on how they could connect things from canon, and how it actually made sense that Burnham was in a fulcrum point, because not just being raised on Vulcan, but being Spock's sister, you know, that puts her in a surprisingly unique position with Vulcan culture, given that Spock was the central point, right? And watching Burnham get a chance to look back and see who her brother became, I thought was beautifully handled.
Oh, I did like
But
that.
The thing that actually I really liked about this episode was that for me, this is the thing that Star Trek does really well. It's just put people in a room and let them talk and see and explore what's going on. I loved that this was a very conversational and not every shit's blowing up every 30 minutes, or every on the ship. It has just been driving me batty about this season. It's just the incessant action that serves no actual purpose for ideas or the story. I thought that bringing in this idea of how science isn't just the logic of the discovery, that it has an impact on the culture. It might not have been an perfectly written out concept the way it was executed, but the idea that you couldn't separate the science of that experiment from the cultural impact on the Romulans, I thought was fascinating, and strikes the heart of what Star Trek does best, which is to create these metaphors in science fiction that reflect the world around us, where there are so many issues where technology and culture are coming into conflict, and there are no neat, clean resolutions to this.
I agree with you 100%, and I wish I had watched that episode. I would much rather have them spent 20 minutes explaining what exactly was wrong with the science that made the Romulans go, why is everyone blaming us? Let's figure out a way that people don't blame us anymore. And the Vulcans were like, no, we're cool that everybody's blaming us. I would much rather have had 20 minutes about that than 4 sit-downs between mothers and daughters talking about how you found your home.
But I think it was there because the focal point was the Vulcans felt they had been pressured by the Federation to do something that they didn't want to do, and that a thing has occurred that they feel that they were taking on their fault. Now, we don't know. There wasn't enough. We don't know enough about what was in that research data to understand what the answer ultimately is. And are they actually hiding something that they know to be different? or is there an ambiguity they haven't been able to resolve, and they just glommed on the worst case? That we literally don't know enough to know how that plays out.
And because this is the Burnham show, my son sneezed, I'm going to say that again. And because this is the Burnham show, we're going to have to find out about that through Burnham and not from the Vulcans and Romulans.
It's true. It will.
I want to ask this question. So first, Robert, you said something that kind of made me aware of something. Is that you are watching these shows from a much different lens. You work in the field of science, right? And I can only imagine how many times you've had to try to explain to a person who's not in the field of science, A, what it is you do, and B, why it's so freaking important. Right? So...
Well, I'll give you a real-world example right now, a battle that's actually going on in the culture over science in Hawaii over the 30-meter telescope.
Oh, yeah.
Where
Jason
it turns
Momoa
out
involved
that
in this.
He absolutely is, and it is on the science side, there is literally no other place in the northern hemisphere that has the conditions that allow for the fidelity of astronomical observation as you can find on the top of Mauna Kea. There's a ton of reasons, I won't go into them. It's fascinating, but it is now in conflict with an indigenous people who have felt abandoned by the government for years and years and years, and this piece of science and technology has become a way to elevate their voice and be seen by trying to put their foot down and say, no, we don't want this to happen because of the religious significance to us. And there is literally no resolution to this. It is a very tedious, complex process. I've been involved in it. I was on the top of the mountain when we were trying to do the groundbreaking ceremony, doing the live stream when protesters stormed the ceremony and shut us down. And it's such a clean that it's like on the science side, there's such an obvious answer. Like it's just so clean and it's powerful and the things we can learn. On the other side, it's like all of that's irrelevant to how this impacts our culture, and trying to find a way to establish that dialogue between them. I must say, I watched this episode of Discovery and I actually felt like this could be a direct analogy. I'd love all the astronomers and all the protesters to all sit down in the same room and watch this episode of Discovery.
Give me an hour of that. Yes, Robert.
I wanted to watch that
hour
show.
Of that. I want that episode. That's the episode I wanted. But instead, we have the Romulan warrior nun who happens to be Michael's mom.
But that's point
what's
is,
so frustrating.
There was a really interesting. I thought this was a very effective plot line of trying to tease out Burnham's truth of trying to decide, is the Federation acting in everyone's best interest, and is she acting in the Federation's interest? This is all part of this whole building storyline of her, the nature of where she belongs or doesn't belong. And I think, again, it is not cleanly explained and finished and made nice and neat and simple with a bow on it.
I agree.
But I think it's
do that.
But I think there is. I mean, yes, I love things all nice and neat. And writing used to be, let's tie it all up with a bow. There are so few shows that do that anymore. I think there is a kind of ambiguity that is just the way a lot of drama is done today. And frankly, there's a lot of Mandalorian that's not tied up with a bow and nice and neat. And it's just too, but it's also very small stories compared to what they're doing. Mm-hmm. There's very little world building. It's a very narrow little slice. And it's almost, that's kind of an apples and oranges. If you want like a fairer comparison like The Expanse to Discovery, where you're really trying to world build a whole set of cultures and conflicts and things like that. And
of that, I take some objection to, because I would argue Star Trek, or rather The Expanse, are trying to be each other, maybe a little bit. But when you have a franchise that is as old as Star Trek, as you have with Star Wars, I would argue that the writers on Mandalorian, or rather any Star Wars for that matter, aren't worried about having to re-explain things for a new generation of watchers. For instance, I'm going to go off on this tangent because I think it's important that we compare, right? One of the things about criticism and critiquing is that you also look at your contemporaries. And this last episode of The Mandalorian, where Rosario Dawson plays this Jedi, I never watched the Clone Wars cartoons.
Me neither.
I never got into them, but I know enough from seeing headlines and, because I follow, these nerd websites and, what's going on, and I understood the excitement. But not having watched the Clone Wars animated series did not detract from this episode. On the contrary, I was like, wow, this is really cool. I bet there are Star Wars fans freaking out right now. How exciting is this for them?
Oh, I was totally freaking out because Ahsoka Tano has been my favorite Jedi for many years now. So that was a glorious moment. But I will point out that they're not carrying a heavy continuity load by introducing her, because her role in The Mandalorian was very narrow, very specific, very tight on a few characters in terms of what she was really bringing to it. And so they weren't actually trying to do this huge world building exercise by bringing her in. So yes, she has a connection to the Mandalorians. She has, but it was an easier job than what you're trying to do in Star Trek, where you are trying to world build.
May I, Elio? May I? I want to take what you're saying, but I think that's Elio's point: is that by having Ahsoka Tano have a job to do, and she does it within the space of an episode, the audience now knows, this is her story, how she fits into this place. It's got a beginning, a middle, and end, and now we move on with the overall story. If they had done that with this, here's why the Vulcans are hiding the burn data. Here's why the Romulans care about it. Here's why the science and the religion and culture clash. Let's figure out why that is, and then we get the data or we don't, and we move on to the next thing.
You know what would have made this Unification Part 3? I think I would have been more forgiving of this episode, is if at the end, instead of her just, showing the disc, it would have been nice if they had ended the episode with some sort of resolution as to what was on that disc. They didn't have to tell us everything. I didn't need the full-on explanation of what's on that disc. But perhaps the final scene would be her and Tilly working together, and oh my God, look, we just discovered blackout.
It would have been the four Vulcans. It would have been the four Vulcans on the ship going, "What have you done?" It would have been those three people going up to the President Lady going, "What have you done?"
Or that,
and
or that.
That would have been much better, because again, we need to hear from the people who care about this. We need Jason Momoa and Dr. Hurt to sit down at a table with some mediator person. And when this is a clear solution, says Dr. Hurt, and Jason Momoa says, but no, the clear solution is this. And then somebody else going, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to hand the data off to Dr. Burnham.
Lower Decks. She's like, what's your problem? What's your problem? Okay.
And it turns out one guy wants a vacation home or something like that. Lower Decks. Lower Decks, baby.
All right, Admiral.
Well, actually, but Kat, I was going to ask, I don't think we've actually gotten your kind of gut reaction to this one, other than a few anecdotal bits here and there.
I'm kind of siding with Tony, and I just so much. I mean, how is her mom? Where has she been? And she hasn't mentioned her in all her recaps of her, first officer's log. Saru's like, she never talks. Her mom never shows up. I don't know if that was on purpose. And then all this. I mean, I get that she thought she would find her on Terra Elysium, but there was no indication whatsoever that her mom could have been on New Volk, whatever it's called. I forgot.
The whole mom thing.
Yeah, and I mean, it was emotional, and it was nice to see Burnham with her mom. Don't get me wrong. I thought that was. I mean, but the whole episode.
So mean. The mom storyline actually worked surprisingly well for me, because of course it was an utter surprise.
I mean, for what they were trying
I did not
to
see it
do.
coming.
Oh, I was like, oh my God, her mom's beaming in right now.
and that was my second thing nice I was going to say, Robert. I did not see Burnham staying in uniform. I didn't see that.
Oh yeah. I mean, I do like her in book too. I mean, I love that. I like her journey that she's trying to discover herself. If she's in the future, what are you going to do? She's been there a year. I mean, you find this hot guy. What are you going to do? I mean,
but no more insubordination, Officer Burnham. No more. Any more, and you are out. We are going to bounce you out, Burnham.
All right, Captains, that wraps it up for this episode of Priority 1 and on screen for Star Trek Discovery Season 3's episode, Unification Part 3. We're going to dive deeper, I'm sure, in After Hours. So
even deeper.
If you are
We didn't even talk about
interested-
Tilly. Yeah.
We didn't talk about Tilly. We a lot of things. You see, Robert, this is why we can't have these massive conversations that other podcasts can do. So I'm glad that you find joy in other podcasts. I encourage everybody to find joy in everything that they
And that's
listen
all
to.
getting edited out.
And that's
Yes,
not-
because
well,
you're defending things that weren't ever part of this discussion. So
I hit record. No, weren't we recording by that point? I thought we were recording.
no, we weren't.
No, we weren't.
Well,
I haven't-
Captains, that wraps up this episode Captains, that wraps up episode. Shit, I don't even know where I am anymore.
480.
No, it's not.
Well,
it's not
Captains,
even
that's
480.
all this week we
Yeah,
have
yeah.
for on screen.
Yes, that's what it is. Well,
There you go.
Captains, that's all we have for on screen this week with Star Trek Discovery Unification Part 3. For a deeper discussion, don't forget, check out After Hours over on our Patreon channel exclusive to our patrons. All right. Oh, shoot. We got Eagle Moss, man. God damn.
Oh,
I
uploaded-
I actually got that browser already.
You got the what?
I got
Boy,
the browser all set and ready to go. So when
That
you talk
uploaded
about Eagle
really
Moss, I
fast.
can yeah.
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 All right. Well, Robert, you're joining us for Eagle Moss now, and you can talk to us about how much you love Eagle Moss.
Oh, also, I uploaded the talking points to the show notes folder.
Oh, nice. All right. So they sent me 2 new ships. Should I
Oh, I
open the
wanna see.
Pathfinder or should I open up the Andromeda?
Andromeda.
The Andromeda. All right. All right. So.
Oh, Robert's getting something. He has something.
Does this look familiar?
Well, that's the. Is that the?
Is that the Andorian ship?
No. That's one of the animated series ones, isn't it?
No, they have. You've seen this very recently, much like
Is it one of those cargo ships or whatever that was in the sky?
I have no idea.
Yeah, this is like the Orion salvage yard. This is the one that they actually kind of shoot down on the way out.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, what
It's
is
part
that?
of the Discovery Collection. It's
Oh.
actually, so we had seen this ship, but only barely in the show. This was the medical ship that Jet Reno was on that they rescue her from, but it was only wrecked and in pieces. And I actually went back. When this ship came from Eagle Moss, I'm like, seriously? That was in the show? I went back,
Hiawatha,
and I almost had to
Hiawatha.
freeze frame to oh my God, I can almost make out the outline because I could never see it. They were never very good in the first season on showing ships. So it basically they got more mileage out of it by being able to resurrect it and put it up in the floating shipyards for last week.
All right. So here we go.
I think I have my ship. Hang on for a second.
So the Andromeda, I'll hit record. Okay, so the Andromeda booklet comes with a nice, pretty booklet. Okay, with the
It's nice and pretty.
all the insides.
Oh, it's shiny.
Oh, jeez.
The book
Yeah,
is
I really
indeed shiny,
Yeah,
which
I
is,
like-
I mean, maybe not how I
shots-
usually describe books, but
they
it's
took
true.
shots
It's accurate.
From, in the game,
It's very Firefly, shiny.
Shiny.
like they take some really nice.
It is a good looking ship.
Yeah. So all right, let's open it up.
There it goes.
What do you show? Oh, there you go, Elio. That's for you. Brandon's showing that off for you, man.
Yeah,
let's
that's
see
my
that.
that's my 3D printed ship.
We're not talking about those right now.
Okay, fine.
Brandon,
I'll put it away. I'll put it away.
put it away. It's only Eagle Moss right now we're talking about. All right, so here's the Andromeda. Let's see if I can do this pretty well without dropping it this time. All right, here we go.
Ooh,
Nice.
It's huge, man.
very
like that
cool.
one.
Such ridiculous amount of detail for
Can
such a
you
little
put
model.
your hand like this way? Oh, you can't see me. Like next to it, so we get the scale.
The scale of it, yeah. Sure.
Like put your hand next.
You have no idea how big my hand is.
What? Yeah,
I may have tiny. I have big hands. I got big hands.
Believe me, it's no problem.
Believe me, it's
Well,
no problem.
we get the scale. That's
Look at my
cool.
head.
Well, you have a huge head.
That's so detailed. That's
Yeah, that's really
amazing.
deep. Look at the nacelles. Look at the.
I know that the
Wow.
cells are nuts. There's like so many little
Wow.
things. How are your
Wow.
nacelles, Robert? Are your nacelles nuts too?
Wow.
Well, no,
So
because the
this is,
Discovery era nacelles are relatively,
Benign.
benign.
Yeah.
Look at the
They got the little
deflector
knobby
dish on
bits
that.
in there, but they're all.
Oh, but
Oh.
the tips of the nacelles are pretty cool.
Yeah. No, they have the little the tridome structure in the nacelle
Yeah.
and the.
Nice.
Deflectors look good. Here's the underside of the ship.
Very nice.
Ooh, we can do a ship off. I'll be
off.
showing the Discovery ship in conjunction with the Star Trek Online ship.
Yeah, this is
Nice.
you can knock somebody out. You can cause some serious damage. Mommy, do I take it out or do I leave it in? Do I take it out or do I leave it in?
Death by Starship.
So
Yeah, Deanna Troy that right to somebody's skull.
This is pretty good. This is gorgeous. All right, so let's do a little Eagle Moss segment, shall we?
Let's do it.
Okay. All right. Start recording. Captains, before we move on to gaming news this week. Captains, before we move on to gaming news this week, we need to take a moment to thank our sponsor, Eagle Moss, and their hero collector of starships from Star Trek Online. Captains, over the last several weeks, we've been talking about these amazing models, these die-cast models with phenomenal detail. And this week, during our live broadcast recording of episode 488 of Priority One Podcast, we opened up Star Trek Online's Andromeda class starship. It's the Andromeda Galaxy. It's the galaxy on steroids. And I'll tell you what, the detail on this ship is stunning. Right, guys?
Oh, it's amazing.
Hold on, steroids? No, not steroids. This is the Galaxy class further refined. It's the Galaxy class that's
I
been to
see.
finishing school.
I see.
It's been to the debutante ball, if you will.
With the onion reduction.
With the onion
slobber.
reduction sauce. That's right, and some parsley garnish. It is fancy. It is highly detailed, and the technology and the trimmings have been brought forth to the 25th century with exquisite fine and particular detail.
I will say this about this model. It's the you can legibly read NCC 92100, but you really cannot read the name of the ship. It is itsy bitsy teeny weeny.
Is that because you're old and your eyes don't work as well anymore?
No.
Oh, okay,
It
just
almost
checking.
looks like a line. It just looks like a thin hairline. Like you would need a mono glass to look at it, right? Whatever the thing is that diamond people use, that jewelers use.
A monocle,
A loop.
a monocular lens.
Sure. But I mean, no matter what, the colors throughout this model are just absolutely gorgeous. If you're a Star Trek Online fan, you should really consider bringing these models into your collection. And it's the holidays.
And these models are brought forth from the Star Trek Online 3D models. That's what they use to set up the die cast and the ABS plastic models. So what you see in the game is what you're going to see in your hand when you pull this out of the box.
Now,
Yeah.
Robert, go ahead, Kat.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, no matter which faction you may prefer to play, you can get one of those starships, because I have the Romulan one, which I really enjoy. But you can get the Bortesque and the Baran and the Jem'Hadar Vanguard carrier.
That's right.
So,
And they just announced that they're working on the Arbiter, which I'm really excited about. I can't wait.
That's
to
a
have
nice
that
ship.
tank. I can't wait. Now, Robert, you are no stranger to collecting from Eagle Moss. And as I was displaying the Andromeda, you were showing some of your own. Have you ever been disappointed with an Eagle Moss ship?
I think the only disappointing thing about Eagle Moss for me is the fact that I take so long to, eventually say I've had enough ships, because I have tables covered with them because they look so cool. And I have some pretty complete collections of the original Starship collection and of the Discovery collections. And at some point, I just have to pull back and just say, let me just pick the ones I desperately want. But yeah, I've had multiple subscriptions from them, and really enjoyed that. I just now need them to buy me a larger place with more display space.
Well, captains, don't forget that as we approach the holiday season, and you might be thinking about what to stuff those stockings with for your Trekkie loved one in your family or friends, be sure to take advantage of 10% off of your next order with coupon code PRIORITY10. That's the word priority, the number 1 and 0 at checkout. You'll save 10% on your next order with free shipping. And I'm pretty sure inside the box, you're also going to find a coupon for something in Star Trek Online. So there's that too. Don't take my word for it, but I think that everybody's been reporting it, and although I haven't been able to get confirmation, it seems pretty solid. So nevertheless, 10% off and free shipping on a ship that costs about $30 is a no-brainer this holiday season, either for yourself or if you've got to give somebody a suggestion on what to purchase for you, then remind them that they can get 10% off by using Priority 10 at checkout. We thank Eagle Moss for their ongoing support of Priority 1. Cool.
They were recording or processing. We're processing the recording.
All right.
Everybody hit stop. Oh, wait.
Oh, wait. We're not going to do that anymore.
All right, captains, we are done, and we're about to entertain our admirals. So thank you so very much for joining us on this live broadcast recording of Priority 1. It's always exciting to have you with us. We had a nice group of people joining us tonight. Don't forget, if you are going to use our Eagle Moss, you can do priority1podcast.com/ships. Okay, and that's going to take you directly to Eagle Moss's website, where you can enter coupon code Priority10 and save that. I'll be tweeting Priority 10 for 10% off, and be on the lookout for that the Avenger. I'm really looking forward to that one. And next week we'll unbox the Pathfinder. So until then, we're going to go off and record for our admirals on After Hours. Say goodnight, everybody.
Good night.
Well,
Good night.
before we do, Solid Strider, thank you for the Prime subscription. Much appreciated.
What's a
Oh,
Prime
nice.
subscription?
Thank you.
What's
It's a
that?
Twitch thing.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. See you later,
Now we can
guys.
go.
See
Yeah, now we
y'all.
can go.